All right. Here we are again. What's up, guys?
Hi,
What's
guys.
going on, everybody?
How we doing? How we doing?
Going.
How's everyone's week going?
Everything's good, bro.
Yeah?
Yeah. Slow but good.
So what do you mean slow?
Slow, it feels like it's dragging along, but
It's
it's halfway through
gone
the week.
quick.
Yeah. For you?
Heck yeah.
Not
Yeah, it
mine.
went by
Not mine.
fast.
No?
No, I
It
just
went
want.
by fast.
I think I just
Yeah.
wanted to be, end of the year, ready to go.
It's almost
Uh,
Christmas.
Yeah.
Right?
Like we were just in Thanksgiving. Like
We
I'm
were.
barely digesting the food that I had for Thanksgiving.
You just poop it out.
Hey,
Hey,
it's a
I'm
little
just
too
saying.
close to home.
Hey, I'm just saying. I mean, because if you're
Give them a visual picture of what my digestive system is
Yeah.
looking like right now.
I mean, because it's if you're like me, you know me. Hey,
I don't.
you know me. You know
You experienced that this week.
Oh, they had an evacuation in a certain city.
right.
How's your week going, Angel?
Oh, it's going pretty fast as well.
Dang.
Like super fast.
How
Like too
fast?
fast, too furious.
Wow.
Room, room.
Wow, watch out.
Ay,
Vroom, vroom.
ay,
Bendigo.
ay.
Run, run.
Rest in peace, Paul Walker.
Oh, doing the shout outs and everything. All
Dang.
right. How about you, Raquel? What's going on?
No, it's been going good. Just we're all the kids and I. We're just waiting for that last week.
Right.
We're
Dude,
dreading
for
it. We're like, all right,
real.
let's go. So it's going by fast.
Nice.
That's
Nice.
a good thing.
Can't
It
wait.
is.
It could go worse.
Yeah, it could go worse, but they're behaving. So I'm all right. We're good.
Yee.
So what's up, Nick?
What's the
You're
topic?
you're the man of the topics. What's the
Well, no,
topic
I was
today?
just gonna
What's going on?
recap last week's episode. Like, what did you guys? Any feedback from anybody? Like, what'd you guys hear?
uh, it was good. You just caught
What's
me
so
off
funny?
because you caught me off guard. I thought we were
That's the
going
point.
straight into the topic.
We
I
are
thought,
going into the topic.
Okay, so yeah, it was good. Seems like people were liking it. They were
Yeah.
subscribing. They were we're working on getting our podcast in all the podcast platforms. So
Yeah.
by when this podcast airs, they're gonna be on there.
Find us on iTunes, Spotify,
Google Play.
Google Play. Subscribe, like,
Subscribe, like,
leave
and-
comments.
Yeah, so-
iTunes, Spotify, Google comments.
Google
What?
comments.
That's
I don't know.
that's Norma's own podcast. Yeah.
I'm connecting with this camera right here. So me and you, we
Oh,
friends.
okay.
That's right.
Get it,
We're
girl.
here.
Dang. And where's my camera at? Right here. I was like, I gotta look at Nick all night.
Our budget was.
Hey.
Oh man.
That's why he sat right there, right in front of you, so you can look at him.
Okay. All right.
So, what'd you
I
guys
know.
hear? And like, what did people think?
It was
Did it
good.
jog people's minds?
It did.
'Cause I know-
the number one thing I heard was they love the topic and they love the controversy between you guys. You guys
Thank
going
you.
back and forth. That they thought it was fun. And they want us to keep doing things like this.
Yeah.
Keep doing
Yeah.
things. I mean, like last week's podcast.
Thank you,
with it.
everybody.
Yeah. So thank you guys for listening and for reaching out to us. And,
We love you, California.
Yeah. And the rest of the United States, wherever you guys are. I don't know. International.
Worldwide.
En México, saludos. En
Worldwide.
toda, a toda la
Worldwide.
gente hispana, le
Hey.
mandamos saludos
Toda la
desde Los
gente
Ángeles.
española.
Hey, I think Pitbull copyrighted that, right? Long time ago.
Yeah. Nick, hey,
Toda
just-
la gente es en América.
Oh, Nick. Oh,
South
Nick.
America.
That's- yeah.
All right, y'all, just to let you know, he's Puerto Riqueño,
I'm not.
Dominicano.
Oh,
Dude.
Nick.
What do you mean?
Dang.
That's what you guys say.
All right, we're kicking him off, everyone. I'm sorry
Yeah,
for
I'm
the
sorry.
fraud. Frauda.
Did you guys like reflect on anything that we talked about? Like, because I know I heard some people talking like, "Hey, it was a different." Like, they had their opinion,
Mhm.
and I think a lot of times people have their own thought process on things, but they're just validating it for themselves. Like, nobody's actually questioning it or like asking them why they think that way. And I've heard people like, "Oh, I didn't think about it that way," or like,
Yeah.
"Oh, that was a different way of viewing that perspective."
I actually had one
Yeah.
person tell me that. It's like I never saw a couple of points. I never thought of a couple of points of how you guys put it.
Yeah.
So it made me think. I was like, oh, okay, cool. I
Mm.
guess it mess with somebody's mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's like it's something to talk about. Like makes you think, right? Like everyone thinks about things all throughout the week. Like I think if we are I think nowadays with like social media and all these different platforms and everyone's reading, Audible, everything is like
Fast,
instant, like
instant.
boom, boom,
Yeah.
boom. Back in the
Microwave.
day, like you had to go to church on Sunday. Guess what? That was all the knowledge you got. You didn't have books. You didn't have
Nah.
you had no community
mean,
outside.
You had the Bible.
But other than that, you didn't hear any different perspective other than the person who
Oh
was
no.
talking.
Yeah.
That was it.
Especially if you came from like a small town.
Yeah, 100%.
That's all you had.
That was it.
Hey, small towns still kind of have that small perspective.
And that's why we're here.
They do.
Yeah. I mean,
We're trying to reach those small towns.
That's right.
Hey.
Wherever
You
they
know?
are. Wherever they are. Wherever they are.
Hey.
Dun, dun,
Um,
dun, dun, dun. Hey, oh, that's some shoulder
You saw
movement.
that?
I love that.
Yeah.
All
I got
right,
it.
I see you.
I got it.
Get
I
it.
s-
There you
ooh,
go.
let me-
I'm a professional dancer.
Raquel,
Just kidding.
Just
Can you
move
just
that.
back up real quick?
Yeah, there we go. Let me see that.
Go, girl.
Ooh,
No, I
all
can't do it
right.
again.
Get it,
You
girl.
know this only goes one time. That's it.
Dang,
I
okay.
try to redo things, just come
It's okay.
crashing down.
It happens. That
Let's not
happens.
do that.
Yeah, Eder only has eyes for his wife, y'all.
Yeah.
Hey, get
Yeah.
it. Dang,
That's why I
Norma's
have,
not
like,
kidding,
right
y'all.
angle right here.
Norma ain't kidding, though.
That's the way it should be.
I'm already sweating. Look at me. Woo.
Norma's like, you better be
Nobody
sweating.
be sweating.
Norma says the
He'll
perfect
stay right
meme of
there.
like, aha. It's perfect, dude. It's perfect.
But yeah, so I think it was.
That was funny.
I heard great feedback like from people. There was
Yeah.
just. I think it was people thought about it, but I think just with like everyday life, like I think it's an important topic to talk about. That's why we talked about it, and I think like throughout other things that going on nowadays, like it just gets kind of buried with everything going on. And it's like, hey, like something we want to talk about today was like if we're called to like really start transforming ourselves and really being Christ centered or just going in that direction. Obviously, people are gonna have their stumbling blocks and their own journey. Everyone's on their own journey, right? But I think it's like, hey, if we're called to live every day and emulate love thy neighbor, right? Like I think it's important to never like don't lose sight on that. Or your neighbor doesn't necessarily have to mean where we're at nowadays. Like I see you guys all the time, but my neighbor could also be someone who I'm liking and commenting on Instagram,
Yeah.
Mm.
Facebook, like community. Back in the day, right? Community was like you went to church, that was your community. Now
Yeah.
your community is like
Ah, it's
it's
spread
pretty
all
much
over.
anybody you can. Community is pretty much anyone you can communicate with, right?
Yeah.
You can communicate with anybody everywhere now. So essentially everyone is your community. And so just trying to figure out like we're called to like transform and everyone's like, hey, we go to church on Sundays and it's just like boom, boom, boom. Great message for like 30 minutes. And then it's like, oh, like how do we engage within a community outside of the church community?
Mm.
So is that the topic?
Yeah.
How do we engage with?
The community outside of the church community, right?
Mm.
And then there's a follow-up to that, right? We're all gonna go out. We have our friends, right? And we want people. We shouldn't have to. The gospel. We should express that in our actions, in our words, where people would ask us, like, "Hey, what's changed?" I'm sure you guys all had friends when you guys came to Christ, where it's like, and then people are like, "Hey, you're different. Like, what's up?"
Oh
Yeah,
yeah. Ooh,
yeah.
You know?
it's like I feel like every time it's like I'm like a little kid. It's like I want to say something. I want to say something.
Right?
Yeah, that's so true. It's like when we first came to Christ, or to church, because people, they don't see it as we came to Christ. They like, oh, you go to church now?
Yeah.
You go to church now?
Yeah.
It's funny.
It's
You
like-
go to church.
Yeah.
It's not like they don't see the conversion or the
No.
transformation.
Nah.
Oh, you go. And I think that, like last week, it was like the church versus Kanye. Like, they're like, oh, you go to church. Like, I don't care who you are. Everyone has that oh, you go to
Oh
like,
yeah.
like what is
Even,
like,
And then when-
Yeah.
even people from the faith, even people, even Christians, or if you go to church, they're like, oh, you go to church. Oh, okay. There's something different, So,
Right?
like,
Yeah.
Exactly.
yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's like, we're called to like go out and preach the gospel. Like you want to transform communities. Churches are everywhere, right?
Right.
But like, who's transforming the church community? Like, how are you going to go out and everything starts from the top down, leadership, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you're going to go transform a community, like, why don't you focus inwardly? Like, so when you're doing self-reflecting and doing self-development, it's all internal, right? You're figuring out yourself, triggers, whatever the case is, right? Becoming more self-aware. The church needs to become more self-aware of themselves. And when you do so, your congregation is going to go out and project that
Yeah.
outwardly versus, hey, go out there and do it in the community. And then people are like, it's like, for me, it seems as though it's like the polar opposite. You know what I mean? Does
Yeah.
that make sense?
Yeah, that
Yeah.
makes sense. I mean, what do
So
you guys?
how do we change?
Yeah, I mean,
Like, I think it's with technology and everything, like how does the church stay relevant in today's times with everything that's going on? And I think it starts from the church expressing community inwardly, like focusing on itself, and doing so, that projection goes outwardly. Because when you became Christian, Christ, the Holy Spirit transformed you, and that
Inside out.
expressed outward.
Yeah.
The transformation happened inside.
Right.
And because of that, that expressed outwardly. And people were like, well, hey, what's up with you? Right?
yeah, I mean, and it's funny because people can tell, you know.
Oh,
It's like
100%.
Yeah.
it's insane
Yeah.
and crazy, and like you're trying to just live day by day, like me. I wasn't. I didn't. We didn't grow up at church, but I could talk for myself right now. I didn't grow up at church. It was like they call it in Espanol domingueros,
The ghettos?
No.
yeah, that too. Yeah, it was
Sunday goers in
Sunday-
Spanish.
yeah, Sunday goers.
Domingueros.
Yeah.
Oh, I like that. Yeah, there's a lot of Sunday
Sunday
goers out
goers.
there.
Yes,
Yeah.
of
Heck
course.
yeah.
and we I grew
You
up
go
like
for
that,
the
like
quinceañeras,
yeah,
That's it.
quinceañeras.
No, no,
So,
no.
That's a good point.
I got the like, oh, you go to church, oh, monja, or oh, Miss Holy, Miss Holy. It's like,
Yeah.
why?
No, yeah.
Why do I gotta be Miss Holy when I start going to church? You know what I mean?
So when we first started
That
going to
happened
church,
with
we
us,
went
too.
to a family gathering, and the funniest thing happened. It's
Oh,
like
I was so mad.
everybody there's like we were maybe about 6 months into the faith, into the Christian walk, and um some family members they just looked at us and they're like, we were dancing. It's like, why are you guys dancing?
Oh,
Don't-
yeah.
You guys were twerking?
Yeah.
maybe.
Maybe.
Hey.
And if we were,
You guys
I
are
know,
making it
and
clap?
if we were, though, if we were.
No, but they're like, oh, don't you guys go to church? I was like, yeah, we
They
do,
were-
but it's like,
they
what do
would
you?
criticize the things that I would wear. They'd be like, "You
Yeah.
wear that for
Yeah.
church?"
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like, oh, like, don't you?
Like,
People, they're like,
Like people at church don't got style. They ain't got fashion. Like, what's up with
it's like,
that?
I guess they
I
got
don't
something
know.
like different in their
Yeah,
mind,
yeah,
of what
yeah.
it is.
I don't
But what my point is that they saw it, like they heard it from our social medias because I would post everything on Facebook, and I was excited, like, hey, ooh, look at me. But then they start noticing like how we're acting. It's like we're not changing. Like we changed drastically in the way I stopped using drugs, so that's obviously
Yeah.
drastically. And
Thank God.
yeah, right. So
you would think that would be more important.
yeah,
I
yeah,
know.
but see, they didn't focus on that. They focused on the fact that, like, oh, you going to church now? Instead of like, hey, we're happy for you for being clean. And it's like
Yeah.
it didn't happen that way. And we got that from our friends and family, and it was like, okay, it was just kind of weird how they didn't they replied more to the fact that I was going to church, we were going to church, than
Yeah.
my soberness and her calmness, which is weird, But that's what we got when we first started going, and
I think
it's
that's the most
yeah.
annoying part. Like after being through something so difficult and people telling you, "Hey, no, we want to help you. Come over to my house, sleep over my house." But yeah, when we were actually doing so much better, it almost felt like they wanted us to be at our lowest so they could be the ones to help us,
Wow.
not Jesus.
100%.
Wow.
The people who've helped me out the most throughout my times was not the church. It was like people who maybe what we deem as like, oh, they don't go to church on Sundays every day. Like, yeah, but they emulated more like Christ than people who went to church on Sundays. If anything, I've gotten more judgment from people in a Sunday service than people outward.
But that's what I mean.
Mm,
It's sad to say that the church community is just has put themselves in a pedestal. You know what I mean? They feel like they have to judge others, that they have to like, hey, when you come to Christ, you can't do this, you can't do that. And it's like it's not, you know? I think the best way to show transformation and show people that we love Christ, but we're still part of the world. It's not that we are of the world, but we're still here. We're still part of it. You know what I mean?
yeah.
So it's like you live, you engage, but you do it in a different way where people
Yeah.
are literally seeing the transformation in you. Like I can tell you, like Edda's testimony is just powerful. You know what I mean? Because this guy, I can tell you,
He's a guy.
no,
Sometimes.
like Uber driver, what 10 minutes of a ride literally brought someone to church.
That's
and
right.
Shout out to
is-
CJ.
CJ.
Oh,
Yeah.
CJ.
Hey.
He's actually the guy. We're gonna bring him in. He's the guy that he produced our intro. So
Yeah.
There you go.
I
Yes,
mean,
keep going, sorry.
could you imagine though, like if we didn't have you in the church, you know what I mean? Someone that can relate, someone that can say, "I've been through it, I've done it." Hey, let's look at you for who you are, and we're still gonna bring you in, and there's still some transformation. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But the church all the time likes to put themselves on the pedestal. Now, why? I have no idea. Like, I don't know why the church wants to be like higher than everyone else, but they like want to be different in a more like inferior, superior type of way. Where I'm like, no, Jesus came and was not the king that everyone wanted him to be. He was not royalty. He was not like legalist, like in a legal way or had status. He was just some guy that was a king, literally of the low, and he was always talking to the people that no one ever wanted to talk to.
Do
Yeah.
you
You know?
know what that
That's
is?
so true. What is it? Tell me.
Tell you what it is.
Drum roll.
You ready?
No, I can't do that. I can't.
Oh, you're doing the whole drum
Yeah.
line.
That
I know.
sounds like drummer boy right there. Drummer boy.
That's another story for another time.
You used to be a drummer.
Anyways, I can play a beat.
How? Oh, okay.
But going back to your point,
Mhm.
it's he knew who he was, right? He didn't have anything to prove to anybody. Like
Mhm.
his words and his actions, he just walked, like, and his presence was there. He didn't have like he had no ego. Like he's like, I'm a pat, whatever. My title, right?
Yeah.
He didn't need a title to justify who he was as he was he knew who he was. He knew where he came from, and if
Mhm.
the people that I've met and encountered, the people who understand that about themselves, they're the most inspirational. You just want, like, tell me more, right? They could care less. The title came after,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
if you take the title away from them, they're still going to be who they are.
And it-
It's
Yeah.
so funny because
Yeah.
people are like, hey,
Mm.
once I have that title as leadership, then I'm going to be a leader. Hey, once I have the
Yeah, yeah,
title
yeah.
of being,
No,
yeah.
No, but it's
Go ahead.
crazy. Didn't
Yeah.
Jesus didn't want to tell people that he was like
Yeah.
or he would just
My
keep
time has not yet come,
Yeah,
woman. He didn't
yeah.
want to tell nobody,
right. He's
though.
like, don't tell anybody.
Yep.
Like, ooh,
Shh, keep on the hush.
yeah, right. And now we live in the day. Nowadays we're like, hey, I'm a pastor or I'm an apostle. I mean, whatever the title is, it's cool. Like it
But
sounds nice, but it's
the
just
sad-
letters.
Yeah, but the sad thing about it is, like, we live in a day and age where I think now people are becoming more #woke or becoming more aware that titles don't mean anything.
Yeah.
But we live in a time and age where unfortunately, we all judge, right? And I've experienced it where when I have a long sleeve shirt on or I'm dressed in a suit,
Yeah.
clean shaven, dressed up nice, and I'm presenting myself, people are like, boom, oh wow,
Yeah.
wow.
I'd let you in
And
my
the-
house.
And then the second like t-shirt,
Take it off. Nope.
Like
not
this,
letting you
like
in
this,
my
like
house.
it's funny though, like, because I can see it in their
Mm.
when I look at somebody, I can literally see their whole everything
Their
change,
demeanor, yeah.
their whole demeanor. And the thing is, when they do that, I can tell who's being very authentic with who they are. Because if someone was very authentic, like, hey, I love all people, like you guys, they're whether I'm in a suit or not,
We love you, Nick.
the same.
Mhm.
It's so funny when you start take a step back and just watch people,
Yeah.
right? It's fascinating to see because I'm sure you experience it when people
bro,
like,
like when
yeah.
okay, let me tell you, when I wanted to come into church, so we would get invited by different people to different churches, right? There was this one church that I went to, and
I'm a lie.
no, this is way before we met, and we're trying to with my dad, we were trying to go to church, right? But number one rule was, hey, you gotta wear a suit, you gotta wear a
Yeah.
tie,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
you can't.
That prereq, though, that
I had
prereq.
earrings, and the person that invited me, he's like, hey, you know what?
You gotta take off your earrings.
You gotta take out your
Yep.
earrings. I'm like, all
Sounds
right,
about
cool.
right.
Like I wanted to be. I mean, I didn't know I didn't know better, so I'm like, all right, cool. I took them out.
Yeah, because Jesus doesn't like earrings, y'all.
That he don't like earrings. He don't like
Mm.
tattoos.
Mhm.
You
What?
you have to be,
A certain
suits.
way.
You know,
Yeah.
so going in there, they welcomed me. They were nice to me, because I looked the way I actually bought a suit and
Okay.
tie. I did it.
Oh wow.
I did it, bro. And
He was
I went to
strange.
Sunday service, and they were welcoming, but I got hot. I'm not used to a suit, so I started rolling out. I took my jacket off, started rolling out my sleeves, and they like
Nah.
immediately they started looking at me like, "Who's this weirdo?" Like, and this was my first Sunday there,
Yeah.
So the person that invited me,
Mhm.
he came and was like, "Hey, put those sleeves on." It's like just it's out of respect. I'm like, "Oh my bad, I didn't know that."
Yeah, yeah.
And
What?
Like,
Yeah, and that's the sad part.
and I
The sad part
I'm torn.
is that you need to play church. You need to like, and you know what's funny is that we talk about like you don't need a title, right? But people don't want to lead unless they have a title.
100%.
But I think that says so much of you as a leader. Like I always tell my students this, like you don't need to be the person that I always say, good job, good job, good job to. You need to just do what's in your heart and do it.
Exactly.
Because so many people in the church have the opportunity to disciple others, have the opportunity to influence others. But what do? They decide to like, oh, it's not my position. Hey, you should go to her. Hey, you should go to him. They're really good leaders. Like, why? If you already made a connection, that is what people want. That is
Yeah.
what people need. Jesus
Yeah.
was not worried about, hey, what are you? Hey, how much money you make? 6 figures. What are you doing? What's your status? Okay, you can't follow me. Right? He
Nah.
picked the fishermen.
Yep.
Like, come on.
He
like,
talked to the tax collectors.
yeah, like the people that they hated.
woman in the
and so,
well.
exactly.
Ciao.
Dude, she'd be the stripper on the pole today. You know what I mean? Like, it's crazy.
All right.
It's crazy.
I like the perspective you put it on. I mean,
No, but I'm serious. Like,
Or she could be the businesswoman, or she could
I
be the
know.
teacher. Like,
all
damn.
right, not the teacher. Right? Calm down.
oh, it's getting intense already.
Hey.
It's getting
Hey,
hot
nah.
in here. So take out. No, that's no.
No, but do you
She's
know
not
what
a
I mean?
stripper.
All
So
right,
she's not gonna
y'all.
take her clothes off.
I didn't even know where to go from that. That's like,
So what we're talking about.
Keep going.
Anyway.
That's just-
What I'm saying is this: don't wait for a position or a title to be able to make a difference and lead. Whether it be you being the difference in your clique, right? Whether it be you being a difference in in couples, whether it be you just literally going to a church, never actually having a position in the church team or in the church staff or anything, you still have by God and like literally a calling.
And,
So what is it?
We all
You know what I
do.
mean?
We all
and
have a calling.
transformation. Yes.
and if your leadership doesn't see that, just keep doing what you're gonna doing because guess
Yeah.
what? Somebody is.
Yeah.
Whether that's in that church or that
But-
And they do, even
You know
though
who sees it?
you don't want it.
You know who sees it? The man upstairs.
Yeah.
The man
Amen.
upstairs sees
Yeah.
it.
And he
That's
opens the
it.
doors. He opens the doors.
That's it.
Like if you're doing
If that's
if you're doing
Leadership is about
Raquel was
serving
saying,
others.
Yeah, if you're doing what Raquel said,
amen
That's
to
right.
that. I like
someone's
that.
gonna
That's
see
right.
that, right? And the person who
Oh,
sees
I
that,
got
they
it.
understand that.
Yeah.
And you don't have to go out of your way in order for you guys to make that. Like you guys are just vibing. Like they get it. Like let's do something.
Yeah.
Whereas like, now let me see what you have to do. Like, Christ, like let me see you in 2 more weeks. Like whatever the case is.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
it was just like he saw right. He's like, okay, I see where your heart's at. Let's go. And I understand that there's going to be stumbling blocks because guess what? You're human.
Mhm.
But I see where your heart's at.
Yeah.
Let's move forward.
Yeah.
Let's keep doing
And,
it.
and me as a leader, because I'm already exercising that leadership, I'm gonna guide you and I'm gonna walk you through that.
And it's something
Mhm.
that Norma brought
What he
up.
continues
It
to
was a
do
perfect
with
quote.
me.
It was like, what does leader mean?
Yeah.
It's like it's serving.
Yeah.
God was an excellent leader. He
Mhm.
came to serve
Mhm.
everybody.
I
He
wonder
didn't
what
care.
people think of leadership now.
I know.
It's
And
like,
and you know what's
I'm a
funny?
leader or I'm a pastor. I'm not gonna.
Yep.
I can't lift
Yep.
that chair or I can't do that. Like
And it's
I feel like
funny.
sometimes it's that way.
I totally think it's funny
Not from where we
because
come from. I'm just
people
letting you know.
call
Yeah.
I mean what Jesus was known for as he's known as being the suffering servant.
Yeah.
Like think about it.
Who
Yeah.
wants to suffer?
Yeah.
though?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey,
Exactly.
that's not the clout.
Exactly.
I want to be all dressed up.
Yeah.
I want to be
That's
with
right.
this
'Cause
person.
I deserve
Photo
this,
shoot.
I
What's
deserve
good?
that.
Let me get my hat on. Pose.
And you know what
pose,
what I think is
get
the
outta
worst? What
Mm.
what is the worst is that we have leaders that are so full of pride that it's like you're not reflecting Christ at all. At all. The people that literally show Christ are the people that are suffering. And it always says that if you're literally are close to God when you are suffering. Why? Because all you got is God.
Yeah.
All you
Yeah.
got, like, dude, Jesus, help me today. You know what?
Mhm.
Okay,
Help me get through the day, please.
you
You
know
know
what?
what's crazy, though?
It's lunch. Help me get through lunch. Like you are literally dependent on God.
But it's the
Yes.
people who are suffering in that moment. What from my experience, I'll speak on my behalf. They've been the ones or the people who had really nothing to give,
Yep.
the most helpful.
Yeah.
I know people who could have helped me out and they just watched me. And then they wonder like, "Oh, you're distant." It's not that I'm distant. Like it's like in a relationship. Like it's reciprocal. Like why am I going to put all my energy on this and you're like, "Well, let me still see what you got." Like no, like what it's the people who understand where I'm at or where you're at. They've been at that low place. Like I get it.
And they just take the time. Just
Yeah.
But it's
just
not
to
even
know you. They just take the time.
There you go. It's not about money. Like,
It
listen,
isn't.
guess what? At the end of the day, yeah. Can I get help getting paid bills? 100%. And that will get
Everybody can.
everyone can. And that gets you by to the next
Anybody?
day. But what's more important, getting your bills paid or having your soul transformed?
Yeah.
And it's like, hey, I'm getting my bills paid for this fleshly life, like that's gonna end.
Yeah.
Or I'm gonna have a connection with you, build community with you. You're a friend. You're a friend. You're a friend, Angel.
Enjoy
You
my
guys are
life
friends.
for
Everyone's
the
Your
rest of
friend,
friends.
Angel. Why can't we
be friends?
Why can't we
be
friends?
friends?
This is
Yeah.
terrible.
Why can't we be friends?
Everyone.
Why can't we be? And it's funny. It's like,
Hey,
hey,
War, you got something going.
Yeah.
it's like, hey, I can be your friend, but like,
We'll be you guys' friend.
what can you do for me?
Your friend.
No,
Right?
not that. Wait,
No,
we
no,
could
no.
be your friend.
I can be your friend.
All right, we could be your friend. All right.
But
We
it's
can be your
like
friend.
people are like, hey, I'll be your friend, but like, what do you have for me?
Yeah.
Like,
It's a
Yeah.
transaction.
Transactional friendship.
Yeah.
You know why?
It's like you scratch mine, I'll scratch yours.
You know
Hey,
why?
you text me when you need me, I'll text you when I need you. But you better be there because if not, dude, it's over.
That's it.
It's
Yeah.
over.
Yeah.
And if you sit down with, I would love for some, like, I wish some certain people would come on because them expressing that has nothing to do with you, right? If they're that just lets you know that they can't even be a friend to themselves.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's
Yeah.
sad. Like, even for themselves, they're like, hey, I can't do this unless I'm this. Guess what? Those are the people in leadership.
Yeah.
I can't start leading until I have that title. No. Start leading yourself.
You know,
If you can lead yourself, build
So-
habits, and do those things,
Some
All right.
people will follow.
Hold on. I got a question though.
Ooh, another
Just,
question?
just playing devil's advocate here.
Ooh.
You
She's
know,
the devil.
Again?
Hey.
Oh.
El
No.
Ay, Dios mío.
No,
Ay, Dios mío,
no,
¿qué está
no,
pasando
no,
Hold
aquí?
on, hold on.
Hey.
Is that the holy
The
water?
holy water.
No.
The power.
All right. Anyway.
The
Horrible. All right. Anyway.
Later, she's gonna forget her
Come on,
question.
forget
my-
Let me
my-
She's gonna
concentrate,
forget
bro.
it.
No. The reason why I want to play devil's advocate is because I talked about this the last podcast.
Mm.
Like, I mean, if you're gonna be this hard on leadership in the church, why not be this hard on someone that's in leadership, whether they see it or not, such as Kanye? And the reason why I say that is because, hey, no. The reason why I say that is because
Okay.
this. Look,
Okay,
Their
connected.
okay, connecting.
I'm confused.
Okay.
You're so confused.
No. Stop. Don't be like my kids. Okay, I'm saying this. I know.
Excuse me, teacher.
No.
Maestra. Maestra.
No, they be
¿Puede
like,
ir al baño,
"Miss,
maestra?"
Sí, Pepito.
miss."
Pepito, sí.
I say it like this because you're talking about leadership. You're talking about leadership looking within, being transformed so that they can be good leaders, right? Not having that pride, putting
Mhm.
themselves down,
Mhm.
really being genuine, right? But at the same time, you have Kanye, and I say that just because I made the point last week of like, wait, we're looking at Stephen Furtick just like the same way we're looking at Kanye, but he kept saying, no. Kanye needs to be seen as everybody else. So at the same time, what I'm saying is this: you still need to have grace for both Kanye and for the person in
Yeah,
leadership.
100%.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't disagree with that.
No. I don't think I think none of us are saying that.
No. I'm just saying that because it seems and it
I
feels.
feel like you needed an extra hour last week.
I
Just
mean, maybe. I don't know.
She wanted the last word, guys.
okay.
and she
Yeah, I
didn't
did.
Oh,
Wow.
that's the thing. Hey,
No,
just
whatever.
let us know next time. You know.
All right.
So what are you saying?
What I'm saying is this. I'm saying from what it seems like you're attacking leadership. Now, are you or are you not? That's it. I mean, that's it. That's exactly how I feel. And I'm like, wait, I thought we are talking about transformation here, though. But hold on. So what I'm saying is this, like, because we're talking about people being leaders, whether they have the title or not, which is what I was saying about Kanye last week.
What were you saying?
He doesn't have a leadership position in the church, but he has a big influence. So you still need to be genuine. You still need to have those conversations of like, hey, you need to be held accountable, right? But what you're talking about right now is very much like it seemed like you're attacking leadership.
Are you,
So
bro?
that's what I'm asking.
Answer her question, bro.
And when you say attacking, like meaning
I'm saying attacking people's character in leadership or intentions as they are leaders.
What are you saying, Nick?
you were gonna say something.
I forgot. Like after that, it's like
I mean, I
was
can't
gonna say
attack
something.
someone's intentions because guess what? Only
You don't know
what-
them.
I don't know
Yeah,
what your
true,
intentions are.
True.
Well, guess what? I can address your actions. Cool. You could say 1,000 words.
Mm.
Your actions don't match it.
But you can say them.
I'm gonna hold you accountable to you. Like, I don't know what your intentions are. You could say like those weren't my intentions. Okay, cool. Like those weren't your
Okay,
intentions.
I'm just saying that that's what the church was saying last week.
So
The church was saying we don't know Kanye's intentions.
Yeah, I don't know. What you're
I
talking
mean,
about.
I was just saying. I'm just saying
I mean,
because from
we-
last
okay,
week.
whoa.
that
Okay,
was
okay,
it.
okay. Oh,
ding, ding.
Yeah, ding, ding, ding. Hold on a
No,
second.
I was
Hold on.
wait,
No,
I was
no, no,
waiting
no,
for
no,
that.
no,
Get
no,
the
no,
gloves.
no,
Get the
no,
gloves
no,
from
no,
downstairs,
no,
baby.
I'll be
no,
the
We have
ringer.
pink ones and
I
black
mean,
ones.
hold up. Angel, don't you agree that last week
Damn,
I was
Angel.
talking
Wow,
about
being the
Oh.
witness,
Oh.
don't you agree, Angel?
Oh,
Hey, Angel,
thanks.
have your own
Hey,
opinion.
hey,
Angel.
I'm only saying
Oh,
this because
Angel.
Angel said that that
Angel,
Kanye
hey,
was
hey,
what?
Be
Ay,
careful,
me
bro.
duele.
Kanye
me
is the
duele.
Antichrist.
So because of that,
That's it.
that's what I'm saying.
You know what?
He has a cult following. I mean, what do you call it?
Hey, but you know what? You know what though, Nick? You know what? Like Angel
A
isn't
los
going
leones.
off of Kanye's intentions.
No.
He doesn't know Kanye's intentions.
No,
He's
but-
going off of the actions. I'm just saying because this was my point
Check this
last
out.
week. Last week, my point
Oh,
was
no, ya empezó.
we were talking about leadership and we're being super harsh right now on leadership. Why? Because we're looking at their reputation, we're looking at their actions, and we're saying because of that, we're figuring out what your intentions are. If not, we're trying to assume them because guess what? You're supposed to represent something different when you come to Christ. So guess what? That's exactly what I was saying with Kanye last week. But you said, hey, Kanye is like everybody else. So is leadership. So where is grace in what you're saying tonight?
Raise your hand, baby.
That's
Both
what I'm
hands.
saying.
Can
Both hands.
if y'all haven't seen or heard our podcast
hands.
from last week, check it out. It will tie this up.
I guess.
somehow.
Yeah. Sorry. I'm just trying to redeem myself. Well, you know what? Jesus will redeem
We'll
me.
have
Hey,
subtitles in the
exactly.
bottom.
Jesus,
Hey,
subtitles.
hold on. That's my point.
We love
Hold on.
you.
But
That's
that-
it.
But that's my point. You're trying to redeem yourself.
Don't.
Don't. Why are you trying to redeem yourself?
No, okay, that was a poor choice of words. I'm not trying to redeem myself. In reality, though, that is what I was saying. And I think Angel would agree. I was
Angel.
And the only reason why I say that is
Which is-
because like I said, my question to you is this. it feels like we're attacking leadership. Now, is that what you're doing? Or
I don't think
or
so.
No, no,
hold
no,
on,
no,
hold
no,
on,
no.
hold on.
I don't
I'm
think
not
so.
done.
I think
I'm not
attacking
done,
is
yo.
poor choice.
I'm not
Poor
done.
choice of
I'm not
words.
Pero,
done.
man.
Or
Ay,
is
bueno,
it
está bien.
or where
Yeah.
is grace
Where's
in this
Grace is everywhere.
conversation?
Grace?
No, no,
Who?
no.
My
You
neighbor?
No, she's Joy.
but
I said Joy.
And Grace, they're sisters. Joyce and Grace, they're twins.
I have hope.
Anyways,
Yeah.
Wait, what do you think, babe?
I
Babe,
didn't.
what do
I
you think?
didn't.
Norma.
I didn't
Norma.
get that.
Oh, what do you? No, overall, of what we're talking about, like, and what everybody's saying.
Does it feel
got-
like they're attacking leadership?
Well, hold
No,
on.
I didn't.
Yeah.
I didn't feel that. I
She's
felt
trying to get
like,
validation from everybody. She's gonna go to. Hey, don't you think?
Cállense.
Hey, don't you think?
Cállense porque se me va a olvidar lo que voy
I
a
know.
decir.
Okay.
A de veras.
I don't understand.
She said. That's what she said.
He really isn't Puerto Rican or Dominicano.
Man,
Okay.
Puta
I what I understood
Puta
from it that he
loca.
was asking is how are we leading the people that are already in the church?
Mhm.
So basically, how am I leading my people? You know what I mean? And I feel like that's what he was asking.
Yeah.
That's it.
But it's funny because I think this goes back to the topic we were talking about yesterday, right? If you question anybody nowadays, the default, if I'm gonna question your actions, why are you attacking me? Like what? What do you mean I'm
All right.
attacking you?
Do you feel
Like,
attacked, Raquel?
But
No.
no.
But
But
okay, hold up.
Oh, it's
hold
'cause you
up,
looked at her when you said that. That's
hold
why. I
up.
was just making sure.
I know.
I was just
Literally
making sure, bro.
attacking me with his eyes.
but let me follow through with that. Like it's such an we're in a time and age where if you question this, and I think this is why
True.
people don't talk
Yeah.
about it.
True.
It's so simple to say, "Oh, I feel you're attacking me." Like what? Like
It is gonna be funny because people in
But-
the comments, they're not gonna like what we're saying.
yeah, but it's like. What do you mean I'm attacking you? This is
But
what you
it's-
said. Like listen, you said you're gonna text me yesterday. It took you 5 weeks to text me. Like, how am I attacking you?
Nah, that's held accountable. That's not
That's what I'm
attacking
saying.
It's
So,
a-
but if
it's-
I'm using your actions, your words, and you're saying, "Oh, you're attacking me," like, how am I
Okay,
attacking you?
hold up. What I want to know is this. So I'm the only one that felt like we were attacking leadership? Because, dude, sign me up and I can just
And-
criticize
and
leadership
kind of
all we want.
half-
And the only reason why
halfway
is because I'm
angel.
restorative.
Okay,
Halfway
but,
angel.
but,
Halfway angel, like
but when you say
he was- he
attacking,
didn't-
like,
he-
what do you
he
mean
didn't-
by that?
Okay, because it seemed like we were really criticizing leadership.
No,
Why
I was
mean, if-
challenging leadership 100%.
Okay, so what's the difference between challenging and criticizing?
I think that's what we're trying to figure out.
Okay.
What
so
is
tell
it,
me.
guys? On the comment box, let us know. I mean, we're all trying. We've been here 35 minutes trying to do this.
I took it as it. How am I communicating with my team? Like, am I making them feel like it's worth it every Sunday? Like, am I communicating? And that's what you were saying earlier. You were saying, how can we tell them like something's wrong? Like, it's building a relationship with those people, not just doing it and telling them what to do. Is not even about that. It's about, hey, what can I do for you? What do you need? Do you need some paper? You need some crayons? Let me
People
get
don't
that
care
for
how
you.
much you know until they know how much you care.
Yes,
so,
yes.
But on that, but
people
listen,
don't remember what you say, but they remember how you make them feel.
but-
Maya Angelou, y'all, look her up.
But listen, like if I built a connection with, let's say you, Norma, and I'm like, hey, listen, like,
yeah,
careful.
he doesn't like that.
hey,
Too with me.
hey, you could have said angel.
That's right. You could have said angel.
They ain't no connection going on right here, bro. I'm just telling you.
No, there's no connection.
there's no
connection.
avatar connection.
Oh no!
Hey.
No,
man,
no.
You went up too far. You know the guy who goes too far? You know the guy who goes too far? That's Nick, y'all. That's
But
Nick.
hold on. So,
Okay, what were you gonna say?
I was gonna say, if you build a connection with somebody,
Like angel.
whoever, but if you build a connection with somebody and you're like, hey, listen, like you said this, blah, 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 it's very unlikely that they're going to take it as you're criticizing and you're attacking me because I already know you have my best interests in mind. When you don't build a connection with somebody
And they
at
come.
all, and
they
I come at you,
Yeah.
why are you criticizing me? Why are you attacking me?
Yeah, no,
Okay,
no, no.
but
yeah,
like
I
I
believe
said,
in that.
Yeah.
I believe in
Yeah,
that because
100%.
I have certain people at church where we go. It's like when I mess up. Guess what, guys? I mess up still because I
You're
go to
human.
what?
Yeah.
No, dude,
That
you have
happens.
you cut
Yeah.
out of church.
Hey, when
Yeah.
you get your
Heathen,
leadership title, you're no
heathen.
longer human.
Yeah,
By
You're
the
not
way,
that's
allowed to
true.
mess up.
no, no, no.
You
When
ain't
you
You're
get,
not. You have to be
No,
perfect
yeah.
like Christ.
You're not human.
That's
yeah.
right.
You
Angel,
have
you're
to
not
be
human.
imitators
right.
of Christ.
I think-
Be perfect.
Perfection.
Angel is an
I think
angel.
it depends, though.
Standard.
I have to
Angelito.
live,
And
I think
have
it
to live up to my
depends.
name all the time.
It
You
depends.
have to, bro. It's hard, but you
It's
got this.
inevitable.
Okay.
If you're in leadership and you're able to build that with your team will understand you and know you as a
That's-
person when they'll still be able to be open to you and know that you are still a human being and you're able to commit your failures or
and,
whatever.
and that goes back onto what we were talking about. It goes from being judgment to holding accountable.
Yeah, that's exactly what we were talking about
See,
last time.
What a thin line.
when you have
Very thin line.
Very.
There you go.
but when you have
Perfect
your
descriptive word.
leadership or the people that you're serving along with, hold you accountable or whatever the means is, if you have a relationship with them, it's easier to speak life into you,
Mhm.
and to correct the behavior. It's happened to me many times where like I think I'm doing things right, but guess what? Hey, I don't do things all the time right. I try, but I fail, a lot of the times.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I have
But
that
hey,
leader
look,
come
look,
into
look.
me and tell like, hey,
Hey, but let them talk. You talk like
okay, hey, we're
an
gonna mute
hour
your
and
mic.
20 minutes
Come
last
on,
time.
oh
Like,
my
come
God.
on now.
That's one of the comments we got. She spoke too much. No, I'm just kidding.
Men always try to put a woman down.
Oh,
always trying to
my
say,
goodness.
always trying
come
to say, hey
on.
girl, just sit
You're a
there and
woman?
look pretty. Dang, Nick, you lucky there's a table holder.
Oh man, I would have seen it.
Go underneath. Underneath.
Yeah.
Don't go underneath.
Hey,
Stop
come
it.
on.
Stop it.
Oh, I thought you
All
kicked
right.
Man,
What do you say?
I don't know.
No.
No, it's just okay.
Yeah.
One of the first things that one of the major things that I learned going to church and spending time with others and those on leadership. The one key environment, one key thing that they taught me was the only way or the one of the best ways that you're going to be able to connect with others and how to lead them is have a relationship
Of
with them.
course, of course.
You have to have a relationship with
Yeah.
them. And they gave me the example of how did Jesus lead the disciples? He had a relationship with them. He ate with them. He drank with them.
He did
walked with
life.
them. He did life with them.
Yo,
Okay.
can I get
Dale,
it?
maestra,
Can I?
yeah.
Okay, all right,
Dale.
all right.
Okay.
All right, like
La
you said,
teacher, la teacher.
maestra. And the reason why I want to play devil's advocate, the reason,
Humility.
The title doesn't count. I'm
yeah,
just saying.
that's something that Nick doesn't have.
Oh,
All right. Anyways, okay.
Oh my lord.
So,
Oh my
okay, so
Oh
listen.
my.
No, but what I wanted to say is this. Look, the only reason why I'm playing devil's advocate is because
Also, you don't share that opinion.
I mean,
Half of it.
You don't have to
half of
say
it.
you don't have to say devil's advocate if that's how you believe.
Just say advocate.
no,
Just
no,
say advocate.
Because
no.
that's halfway.
Okay, all right. I guess. Yeah, okay. Listen. Oh, jeez, man.
Say aguacate. I mean, it sounds the same.
No, listen. Because the only reason why I say that is because it does feel like you're criticizing leadership because sometimes they cannot make a relationship. Now, I'm not saying that their obligation isn't to make a relationship, but I have kids for 10 months and I have 34 freaking kids. 34. You know how hard it is to make a relationship with each one? I say hi to each one in the eye. Like I look at them in the eye and they're something not even looking at me. I am literally trying to be like, dude, I see you while I'm teaching a lesson. But then also like throughout the whole day, I'm like, okay, I forgot about the kid that doesn't talk ever. Okay, I see you too. Oh, wait. I see you too. Oh, I know what you need. I know what you need. Hold up.
No, I was just
Now,
saying hi.
My
now-
hands up because I got a question.
Hold up. But the only reason why I say all
There you
that is
go.
because it is so hard to build genuine
I agree.
relationships.
Yes.
Hold on.
No, that's true.
With
It is
30
hard.
with 34 kids, could you imagine a pastor? Now, I'm not saying that they are Jesus, right? And I'm not saying that they are not going to be held accountable for not making genuine relationships. Yes, they need to know the sheep that they lead, but they are not going to be Jesus. They're not going to be meeting everybody's needs. It is so hard for me to meet
Yeah.
one kid's needs. Dude, this girl needs glasses. This girl needs motivation. This girl, I can keep going on what this girl needs. And then at the same time, I got the girl next to her that needs more.
Can I
And I'm
talk?
like, you know what, girl? You just, I could do this for you. And that's all I can do. And I'm just gonna hug you and touch you and be like, girl, I care for you. Now I gotta go to the other one and be like, dude, I care for you and I love you too.
Okay. My question is this.
Say it loud, bro. Say it loud.
Sorry. My question is this.
Wow. Why?
When
wow.
you have a student teacher, does it make your job easier?
No,
In theory, does it supposed to make your job easier?
no,
Why not?
because you're teaching the teacher how to teach the kids, but the teacher doesn't know how to meet the kids' needs.
Exactly. So, as a title in leadership, you're supposed to have disciples,
hmm
right? How often are you with your
That sounded so.
That came out perfect. Though.
how
Exactly.
how often are you with your student teacher?
I don't have one right now.
But I'm saying if you were as a teacher was to have a student teacher, you're with them what?
6 hours a day.
6 hours a day, right? And then they're supposed to learn from you.
Yeah.
They're supposed to embody you.
Yeah.
So then when they have their class, they go out and do
True.
that, right?
Yep.
So
Discipleship 101.
discipleship
Yeah.
101, right? So
Mhm.
going back to the original question, how are we going to impact the community when we're just you just express how's a person in leadership supposed to do all these things for their church and these disciples? Guess what? You're not supposed to do that for all the church.
Nope. True.
Have your core.
Yes. Jesus did the
So,
3,
Mhm.
did
guess
the
what?
12.
That's right.
Show me your disciples, and I'll show you your leader.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Dang.
Full
Mhm.
circle.
You tricky mother.
That's right.
Oh,
Dang.
That's right.
Dang. This guy just
not
That's
tricky.
what
had
I'm
an
saying.
agenda
It's like
all
your
along.
core,
I-
your
I-
core people. You have
But
to
it's
make
a-
sure there's a strong relationship.
Yes.
You have
now
to make
those
sure you're
are the
connected
people you
to
pour
them
into.
on a deeper level, like about their family and everything. Besides that, you end up falling in love with them in general.
Yeah.
So
But and it's not that it was like quote unquote trickery. It's I think people share. You said you were playing the advocate.
I know, not the
O
devil's
sea,
advocate, just
no,
the
no,
advocate.
just the advocate.
yeah.
El aguacate.
Well, I don't need to state the
Avocado.
name.
The avocado.
the
Don't call me the devil. That's okay.
No,
No, no,
you're
no.
not.
We're calling you an avocado.
That's right.
Yeah.
avocado.
Avocado.
They're healthy, you know.
And they're
good for you.
green.
Yeah,
Hey, they're good fats
Yeah, they're
though.
green.
Hey, y'all
Yeah,
eat
yeah.
avocados.
I mean,
Yeah.
say that to me.
Guacamole.
With some bread,
Hey, we need to get some chips and dip here.
chips.
But
and dip.
anyways, I think a lot of people like how you were expressing yourself were feeling the same way, and it was like, cool, awesome. Now let's work that through. Like your person in leadership's not supposed to disciple the entire congregation.
No.
Goes back to how are you going to impact a community when your actual community is the church and they can't even figure out themselves.
Yeah.
Well, I
And
think
then you bring people in and you just repeat that site, like focus on your core. What did Jesus do?
Yeah.
He went out and spoke, but he was with his core. He was discipling his disciples, and when he left, they spread the gospel.
Yeah.
Mhm.
they
What?
did. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Mhm.
And he
Hang
told
on,
them that
how
they were
many
gonna do greater things than he did.
Yeah.
But
Dang.
but wait a second.
Stop.
I mean, come
I
on
mean,
now.
my kids are definitely going to
Come
do
on now.
greater things than I will do.
Like, you
you would
That's true.
hope so.
I definitely
right?
say that.
Yeah.
I'm like, by the time I
You-
grow old,
yeah.
boys and girls, you better figure out how to stop wildfires because that's what we're learning.
But not
So-
only that, but that's how you feel,
We're in
right?
California. That's why, guys.
Yeah, I know. I mean,
But what did Christ say to his disciples? You're gonna what?
You're gonna do greater things.
Right? And it wasn't. He was. That's an excitement. Every person in leadership should want to be in a point where I put everything I could in for you.
Yeah.
Guess what?
Yeah.
And when that person starts embodying that, guess what? Another leader is going to see that because now they raised their level here. Like,
Yeah.
perfect. I'm a police. But instead,
Mm.
people use their position of power.
to keep people
People down.
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 I
Mhm.
see what you're
Yeah.
saying. Freaking Nick. You're good.
That's good.
But why do they
That's
do that?
okay.
He's basically talking
Yes.
about the student becoming the teacher, but in the church, a lot of times because of pride, because of like, oh wait, you don't know
I
as
heard
much
that.
as I do. You
I
you
heard
know what?
that.
Just
heard that
The
before.
ego.
don't be better than I am.
Why not?
That's what I've.
But
Okay.
no. But this is the thing. No one's gonna say that.
No.
Perfect. So guess what? I'm gonna sit back and watch.
Yeah.
Listen. At the end of the day, if you're at a church, just listen to the greeter.
Mm.
Talk to the greeter person who greets you at the door.
Even before you get there, the person on the parking.
Person at the parking.
Mhm.
That'll tell you everything you need to know. Have a conversation.
Yeah.
Listen. Before anything, have conversations with everybody else
Mhm.
because that's gonna tell you what type of leadership,
Mhm.
right? Is
That's
there.
right.
Mhm.
And you don't even have to ask them. Just sit down, listen. Don't judge people. Just hold people accountable to their actions.
Yeah.
People can say anything,
Yeah.
right?
And
Then their actions
Okay.
won't match their words, right? No.
Ay,
If their actions
baby.
don't match their words, then you
Ay.
already know, like, hey, what's going on here, right? Now, when I have a conversation, I'm not attacking you. I'm just holding you accountable to your actions. When you meet somebody whose words and actions are held accountable, that's where inspiration comes from.
Mhm.
But the lack of inspiration comes from, like, you said that, but you never reached out to me.
And that's
Mhm.
where
Yeah.
transformation, that's where you see transformation. When people are inspired, because I will not get a kid to do his homework and care about reading and want to learn unless he is inspired to do it for himself.
You can't
So,
take.
yes.
You can take a horse to water, but you can't make him drink it.
No.
Learn that in middle
Just
school.
like
Right?
how
But
you
hold on a
don't
second.
want a man, you don't want to give a
El agua.
man a fish and feed him for a day. You want him to
Learn
learn
how to
how to fish.
Bah.
I mean, Jesus was the man
But-
of
but-
fishermen.
Going back to what you said, you can't take a horse and what?
Make him drink.
Make them drink, right? But
But you
guess
could
what?
teach him.
No, you don't even need to teach them.
Fishermen
Yes, you
and
do.
men.
You don't need to teach them.
Why not?
You don't need to teach anybody anything
Why?
because actions mean everything.
So you show 'em?
Guess what?
But you
We're all
show-
horses.
You
Nobody is above anybody else. You're all human.
I'm a
You want to
donkey.
express that level of gospel, just go out and do it. You don't have to guess what? If you have to convince somebody
Nope.
to go spread love, to go be a human,
Yeah.
if I have to convince you to be a friend to somebody, guess what? Me as a leader, I'm not doing. If I have to convince you,
Yeah.
that should tell you everything.
Or we're gonna do a
who you
trade
are.
off. Like if you come with me, I'll give you this.
Yeah,
If you do,
yeah, exactly.
That's the
What-
wrong way to do it. I mean, that's what I think.
But
guys.
everyone
I don't know.
does. But a lot. I shouldn't say everybody. There's amazing people that I know in my
Yeah.
life to this day that they don't do that.
Yeah.
And guess what? They don't have.
Yeah.
They don't have big churches. They don't have anything.
Nope.
But I guess what? When I
They're
meet
all
them,
humble.
when I'm like, there's people I know when I meet. It does. I don't even need. There's someone that comes to mind. They would never lead with their position, their title, nothing. They look like a normal person. Like
Yeah.
you would
Mhm.
never think
Yeah.
who they actually were. And when you bring it up, it's almost a disgust on their face. Like this, like because I was doing quote unquote, because I was doing all the things correctly, or meaning emulating this type of lifestyle or this gospel, this is the blessing that was given to me. I'm not saying that when you do all those things, that's what's gonna happen. I'm
Mhm.
not saying that. But that person understands that and they're like, this could be all taken away tomorrow.
Mhm.
But because I know who I am, and this is where the condition of my heart is, I'm just gonna always spread love. I'm gonna always be a friend to somebody.
Mhm.
That'll never change.
That's right.
And do I get the
And nobody's taking that away.
no? But yeah, no one's. Listen, can you take Christ's identity away?
No.
Never.
Never.
And
You
So why
can't.
do you allow somebody in leadership to take your identity away?
That's right.
you know, whatever God has placed in your heart, whatever the calling is that God has placed in you, no one can take that away.
Nope.
Yeah.
See, the enemy might be
Not even the
might-
enemy.
No. The enemy might be able to like keep you away from it. Keep
Yeah.
like try to like deviate your,
Mhm.
your path to it, but he cannot take it away.
Nope.
God gave it to you, and guess what? You're
Only
gonna
person
keep
that
that.
can take it away is yourself.
Yeah.
Not
Yeah.
even then.
No, you can.
You can though.
Ooh,
You
I
can.
mean,
Because of
Yourself?
free will.
You
because
can.
God's a gentleman, and God says, "I'm not going to force you
Yeah.
to do anything you don't want." You know,
But see-
okay, you gotta watch. You gotta
no.
literally read.
Let me
C.S.
rephrase
Lewis
what I
Screw
said.
Tape
Let me
Letters.
No.
rephrase what I said. You can take it away, but if you're walking at that level that you're talking about, you're gonna become aware that
Yeah.
you're gonna self-correct.
Yeah.
you're gonna
But if
self-correct.
you're not
Are
if you're
okay,
not
I get
self-aware
you, I
of
get
that,
yeah.
you can extinguish your own light.
I
too.
get
Yeah.
you, because
Because
I get you,
yep,
because when I was
that's
again,
where we're going back to.
Yeah.
because
Yep.
when
Yep.
I was like into the drugs, into like every single day high, um, I was deviating from what God had put me here on earth to do,
Yeah.
and I was doing it to myself. Like nobody else was like helping me along the side. I mean, maybe the dealer, but
Not only
but
that,
I chose to go to them. You know what
not
I
only
mean?
that, if
I'm just
correct me if
Dealer,
I'm
you're
wrong.
out there,
Correct
do
me if I'm wrong.
condemnation.
hey, if you're watching it, I made it through, bro. I made it through, bro. I'm sorry.
He's probably mad now. He's
Yeah, I
like,
know.
this is-
He's
Man,
like, lost the
hey,
customer.
I'm not-
My
hey,
client ain't
he
no
went through a
more.
recession too.
He lost some money in that
He
place.
did. I'm not proud of it, but
like,
hey,
"Oh, damn, where's my
I
money?"
used
I
to.
know.
Yeah, I used
But
to spend
not only
money on
that, I
Woo.
correct me if I'm wrong on this. If it wasn't the people around you, Norma,
Yeah.
what who you can
Ah.
never say you know where you're gonna. All you
No,
know
no,
is
no,
where
no.
you're at currently.
Yeah.
But without Norma, who knows?
No. See, and I think I said
And
this
God
before.
placed her in your life.
I said this before. The only
Angel.
got you
Not
specifically.
that one. This one.
Gotten you specifically to place Norma in my life, to place Emmett in my life, like at the specific time,
Mhm.
in order for me to,
Yeah.
get away from that. And that right there is how God works. He moves all the chess pieces, and when the right time comes, it just happened to me. Honestly, I'm blessed. And again, we'll talk about it in another podcast. But I quit cold turkey from
Yeah.
one day to the next.
We'll
I
talk
wanted to be
We'll talk about that in
sober.
the next podcast.
Let's do it,
Yeah.
bro.
Praise God.
Let's do it. And but you know what? I wanted to, right? I said I wanted to, but if I didn't get a nice little lecture from my wife telling me, "Hey, if you don't quit now, I don't think we can be together." Bro, that made me snap. And just her
Yeah.
demeanor, the way she said it, I know it was God. Because if she told me those same words before, yelling,
So many
screaming,
times.
like, we would
Yeah.
go at it, man.
Dang.
Yeah.
Every
Do
time
it.
she would tell me, like, if you don't stop, I'm gonna let you go. And
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
like, whatever, try it, do it again.
Dude.
But that day,
Yeah, he would
dude,
say
I
that.
promise you, that day she told me, she's like, hey,
I was so calm.
Like
Yeah.
she has never been so calm.
Yeah.
Wow.
And she's
I
like,
was
hey.
more determined that day than any other day, and I was so like peaceful, and I feel all that was God. Looking back at it, but at that precise moment, you really don't know
Yeah.
because you don't
I
know
see
about
We,
it.
that.
we didn't know
Okay.
Christ then.
Yeah.
No.
So
yeah.
when looking back at it, I know it was God, like telling me just stay calm. Everything's gonna be fine. Like don't
Wow.
freak out. And all the words just came out perfectly, and he understood them, and everything just kind of flowed.
And this is an addiction that I
Wow.
battled through over 14 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
That day she said it, dude, it clicked. It was God, man. And again, you know what that was? Relationship.
Mm.
That relationship
Community.
she invested in me. Like, honestly, I always tell her this. And like, I know it's gonna suck hearing it, and I hate saying it. But if it was the other way around, I would have let her go long time ago. Because
Hey.
because
Sounds about patriarchy.
no, I'm trying to be honest here. Where
Yeah.
I'm trying to be transparent to where, like, dude, I put her through bad
Hell.
stuff, hell.
His cousin,
Like, yeah.
cousin.
So I mean, we'll
which
talk
were-
about it later.
Yeah.
which
But
they're like,
like, well,
Yeah.
they're best friends.
Yeah.
Him and his cousin. She would be like, "Oh, I would have left him a long time
Yeah,
ago."
yeah,
And she would
I would
say it
too,
in front
dude.
of his face, and
Yeah.
I was like,
and I was like, whatever,
Yeah, I
whatever,
would too.
cousin. Thank you for being
Yeah,
great.
yeah, yeah.
But then it goes back to having that relationship. She built that relationship. She was there for me. She's still here for me, and after everything, like, she's still here. It's the relationship. So tying it back to our leaders,
Mm.
tying it back to God.
Yep.
God was there for his disciples.
Yeah.
God is there for
Yes.
us. The leaders
Yes.
need to be there for their core team in order for
Yes.
them to spread out, make it a ripple effect, make it a ripple
Yeah.
effect.
Okay.
I will
Okay.
say this too,
Dale.
because people are gonna hear this
Yeah.
and they're gonna be like, "Oh, I'm gonna start
Hopefully.
emulating that."
Yeah.
But
I mean, hopefully they hear it. Hey, make
No,
sure
no,
you
no.
guys download
Listen,
it, comment,
this is
subscribe.
the thing. If one person hears it, that's all that matters,
That's
Yeah,
right.
right?
yeah.
We already have people here.
I
Exactly.
There.
know.
That's
There you
good.
go.
Hey, that's all we
But
need.
but this is I've noticed this in my experience in life and leadership, whatever I did, right? Is people will hear this and read books. Just because you read something and you say something doesn't mean you're actually doing that, right?
Yeah.
So
Mm.
people are going to hear this and be like, oh, I'm going to start doing that, right? And guess what? The person or people who maybe are going to challenge their leaders, guess what? Still challenge them. Because if someone, listen, when you came off of drugs, when I like left doing what I was doing
The
back in
hood.
the day,
The
Yeah,
hood.
ain't
The hood,
nobody
bro.
want
I
to know
wasn't,
what
no,
Nick
no,
was
Come on, you
doing.
left the hood,
I
bro.
wasn't the hood.
You left the
I
hood,
didn't,
bro.
I didn't live the hood.
He was
Well,
in
you
the
Nah,
hood.
you
he
live in Irvine now,
never lived
bro.
the hood.
Bro, you live in Irvine.
I don't, I live in the hood now.
He was in Malibu.
You can't-
I'm just kidding.
I mean,
Malibooty.
oh my lord, no.
But that's where I was back in the day.
Por favor,
That's
no
where I
stop right now.
was.
I'm so
That's-
embarrassed.
This was- I mean,
That's where I
no.
It was going
He just talking
bang
about
to
the
this.
booty.
But that's where I was, right? That's where I was.
No, yeah.
But let me
You
let
were
me,
in the
let me
booty.
bring
Go.
it back. The same way that we talked about last week about like Kanye, like that doesn't mean we don't give him a free pass. Like still hold them accountable.
You
Like
have to
if you see leadership changing, still hold them accountable, right?
ask. I question it.
Yeah.
I mean, not in a like, hey, why you doing that? You know
Yeah,
what I
yeah,
mean? Like,
not that way. Like obviously
no.
the delivery is
Of
important.
course.
But like when you were saying like, oh, you're criticizing, challenge him. That's why I was like, I was confused and attacking him. Like, no, I'm not. 100%. Guess what?
You are challenging.
We're
them.
making googly eyes. Don't be looking.
I'm
Yeah.
trying to like, hey, you know what I mean?
Ah. We're
Well,
here
hey,
well,
hey,
winking
hey,
Nick
at
is
each
trying to
other.
get in between
Hey, I'm
this.
looking at my wife, man.
Ah,
Hey, let me be. You can't do connection like that, okay? Come on now. You already
I don't want to do connection.
no, none of that.
No connection.
Only with Angel.
Only with Angel. That's right, dude.
Angel, get ready, bro.
Hey, míralos en el ojo.
Go,
los
Nick.
ojos.
Finish.
Los
Sorry.
ojos. En los ojos.
So I'm losing my train of thought.
No,
I'm
don't
sorry.
lose it. Come back, come
Nick,
back.
go
Oh,
back.
no, come back, come back.
Go back.
Come back.
So when you're saying like, oh, challenging and attacking, not attacking, but I wholeheartedly believe you should be able to challenge leadership.
That's right.
You should be able to challenge leadership
That's the
because
only way you grow.
no. And the leadership, if you're doing everything correctly,
Then you should be
You
okay
have
with
no
it.
problem with it.
You
'cause
should you should
hold
be
on,
able to explain it
100%, right?
or say it,
No,
speak it,
whatever.
talk about
You
it.
should be okay with it, right? Like if you're challenging your leadership and they try to spin it to where, oh, you're attacking me,
Oh, I see what you're saying.
that's an issue.
Yeah, that's a red
Because
flag already.
that's a red flag. 100%. That's a red flag. You want to know, like, I'm not saying I am saying challenge people, but just sit back in a sense and watch their actions. Because one thing that I've always found fascinating growing up in the church, because I'm like, what? This is crazy.
Go.
It's like, the disciples ever doubt or question?
They
Yes.
always.
Always.
But wait a second. You know how many times
Yes.
the few times I've
Like,
actually, but the few times that I've actually ever heard that, come on now.
Was what?
I'm just playing. The few times, the few,
Come on.
Kevin, come on.
Okay, come here. Come here.
Sorry,
come here.
man.
He's
like,
making noise
yeah,
over
he's
here.
making noise. Come on.
Come on. We're over here.
He wanted to get on the show.
wanted
He got
he-
here.
He got him. He
Let's
got.
go.
We're
Yeah,
gonna.
you didn't turn on the
Okay,
microwave.
Come here, come here.
okay.
I'm
Turn
sorry,
on the
Nick. I
microwave
can't.
right now.
This guy right here.
Yeah.
Look at this
Nobody
guy.
can see you right there.
Yeah.
You gotta get a little
He's-
closer.
he's
a
in
little
the-
more.
He's
Make
a
a
little more.
cameo.
A little more that
Make
way.
a cameo.
More that way.
Make a cameo.
Yeah.
Yo.
He's
That's your cameo.
That's it.
That's it.
Yeah.
He's the guy that feeds us internship.
Yes, he
He puts
does.
yeah, look at him. Ooh.
He said.
So here making noise.
Oh my
Uh,
Okay,
god.
keep
but yeah.
going there. Come on now.
So, challenging leadership, right? If your leadership is sound with a strong foundation, they should welcome it.
Yeah.
The reason why I've noticed, I could be wrong, comment in the comments or send us an email. Or reach out to us. We can have like a
What-
private one-on-one. We could talk about
Yeah.
it. Or
What's your
if you
email?
want to come on the podcast, let's talk about it
FloVation
Yeah.
Life.
at
Yeah.
gmail.com.
Come.
That's right.
Come on the podcast. Like, because
yeah,
I genuinely,
Instagram.
I want to genuinely
FloVation
learn,
Life.
right? And I'm curious.
Plug.
Is
Twitter.
if
We do have a Twitter. Sorry, bro. Keep going. I'm just excited to share everything.
Go ahead.
we're gonna
Nick.
share,
All right, go,
Well,
go,
well,
go.
hurry up because you
I'm
take-
trying to share.
Dude.
Come on.
Okay.
Get to the point.
Thank you, Angel. Dang.
Sometimes when you rush things, you miss the point,
I,
right?
But sometimes the point.
Sometimes when you take forever, you never
I'm,
get to the point.
I'm hurting.
Timing
right
is
now, physically.
impeccable. No, what I'm saying, because this is important.
Go.
This is very important.
Is it?
I'm trying to make sure that
I'm
it's
questioning
like,
you. I'm my leader.
I'm trying to make the point of like, if someone's gonna challenge leadership, that they understand what they're doing and they're not coming kind of like, oh, like no, understand the delivery and what you're doing, the intention.
Love you, Nick. By the way.
What do you
right?
mean?
Meaning,
Yeah.
Yes.
You can't go up like, why are you doing this?
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The delivery.
that's what I'm saying. I'm
Yeah.
not trying to rush this.
Okay,
Yeah,
so then what
yeah.
are you
Like,
saying? How?
So exactly. Sit,
I got
question.
I got the example.
But when you're questioning, come from a curious
loving heart.
standpoint.
Yeah.
Just curiosity.
Yeah.
From a
Curious, care,
Yeah.
right? Come from it. Come from an understanding from guess what?
Yes.
The scripture based, right?
Yes.
Just
Yeah.
emulate the scripture.
Yeah.
And if you need to use an example, you can. Hold on a second. What you can use an example is like the disciples, right? They questioned, but they didn't. They questioned. They were in disbelief at points. There was nothing. Christ.
Thomas.
This comes back to the top down, top leadership. Christ understood
Yeah.
he was who he was dealing with. He understood who his audience was. So if you're questioning
But
leadership,
even he questioned.
but if you're questioning leadership and they're coming down with they're cracking down hard on you, like, gosh, I didn't want to say that. Cracking down
I'll
on
say
you is take a step back. Don't get offended, right? Don't let your ego get in check. You're trying to be a better person. This goes back to how are you going to transform a community of people in your area when you first need to transform the community within the church?
Yeah.
First, have an understanding
Yeah.
of what it means to be called to love thy neighbor, what it means to call to emulate Christ, what it means to call to be a disciple. There's nothing wrong with making mistakes, but I think there's a big, going back, a big fine line of being held accountable and being judged, right?
Right.
And so
and-
surrounding yourself with people that are
Oye,
lifting
oye.
you up versus pushing you down.
Yeah.
All right.
Right?
Go, dude. Go.
So if you're gonna go out and question leadership, like do it, understand what you're doing, and if you don't, like just read scripture, pray on it. But if that person is getting offended,
Then
like-
they don't even love themselves. They don't even know who they
but
are.
they're gonna get offended, right? Because this goes back to what we're talking about, the church. There's people in leadership who use the title. So guess what? Don't be surprised if someone's, why are you attacking me? That's
Yeah.
gonna happen,
Hmm.
right? Don't go in a place of attacking. Just I'm genuinely curious. Like, explain to me this.
Go in a posture of learning.
Hmm.
Because
Curiosity.
like
Yeah.
you're curious.
In
You
a
know, 'cause-
humble posture.
yeah,
Yeah.
because if you want, like, you really want to learn about, like, hey, like, check this out. How come you said this on Sunday? Not like, how come you said this on Sunday?
Oh,
The
You get me?
delivery.
Yeah,
That's the delivery he's talking about. And I was like, okay, like, really, I
Your
really,
tonality.
I really want to
timing.
understand why you said it. You know, can you explain further? Can you tell me more about what you were speaking on Sunday? You know, like I think that's very important, and I think that's what you were trying to say, or I mean, you did
That's
say.
yeah.
That's what you did say.
And if you can't do that, and you're
Oh.
scared to do that, to me personally,
Take
if I
time.
can't do that, I'm like, you know what? Guess what? And I don't care if you don't like this, what I'm about to say. Guess
Uh-oh.
what? There's a
Eesh.
million other churches out there.
Yeah.
Oh.
Guess
there
what?
is.
Who cares?
Oh no!
'Cause you know
I'm
why?
sad.
At the end of the day, this is the funniest thing.
What is it? Oh,
What are preachers called to do?
serve.
Yeah. What and what? Bring
Lead.
people to Christ.
Oh, okay. I'm
Not
sorry.
bring people to Christ, but preach the gospel. The gospel, the Holy Spirit's going to convict them, right?
Be the bridge.
Their concern isn't their clout, how big their congregation is, all this stuff.
All
If
the
you're
filled
doing,
It shouldn't be.
all the
no, no, no,
filled
It
seats.
shouldn't be.
no,
The
it-
tithing.
yeah,
Nope. Don't care. Don't care.
yeah.
You
If
don't
you're not
care
being-
about the tithing. You don't care how much people are giving. you care about people's salvation, about people's hearts, about people's transformation. Because guess what? I don't care about A's, B's, C's, or D's. I care about, hey, will you love to learn by the time you leave my
Did you
class?
get the
Hold
material?
on.
No,
What is
no,
it?
no, no, no. And you know what? What I
Those who
was
are last are first, and first. What?
Yeah.
But why don't we apply that
Mm.
The upside down
the
kingdom.
upside down kingdom,
Ooh.
right?
Dang, baby, I just
Norma,
love
she
you
just
more.
says a couple words, and
But
that's
that's all
it.
she needs. That's all she needs. She
But
Because
that's all
I'm a
true.
listener.
But that's all truth needs, right?
You gotta be a
That's all truth needs. You just need to say a couple words, and that's it. It pierces the heart. Super boom. I don't need to add fluff. I don't need to play organs while I'm preaching. If I have to play the organs to convict somebody, if I
then you're
this is
not
the-
preaching the gospel.
no, but this
they
is the
sound
point.
good though.
If I have
Just
to,
kidding.
No.
yeah,
I'm just kidding.
but this is the point. Like if I have to convict somebody, right?
No, yeah,
I
yeah,
play-
yeah.
Keyword: if I have to convict somebody by playing you're missing the point.
Yeah, because there ain't nobody gonna convict anybody but Holy Spirit. So if you're
Exactly.
trying to convict somebody,
Yeah.
already your heart is in the wrong position. And
Yeah,
let me tell you
yeah, yeah,
this. Look,
I
I
just thought of a
I
story.
always tell my students this, and it's the same thing. You question me, and it's okay. Look, it is so hard for a teacher to be like, I don't know. It's so hard for a teacher in any field to be like,
You said
dude, you
something
know
good.
what? You are right. But only a teacher that understands that they're not perfect and humble can show their kids, hey, oh, you know what? Hey, you're right. I totally
Mhm.
made a mistake.
Mhm.
And that's okay, boys and girls, because we learn from our mistakes. Oh, you know what? Hey, not everything that I say is correct. Look it up on Google, look it up on a credible source. Literally, if you are not only questioning leadership, but if you're not questioning leadership, we also urge you to question it, but question it with a heart to learn, with a heart to, hey, I am confused. I want to get closer to God. So what can I do? Because you do not want to be stagnant where you're just like intake. Oh, okay. Oh, nice. Oh, that was pretty. Oh,
Yeah.
I feel great after Sunday service. No, Sunday service should make you feel like, oh, wow, I'm grateful for Jesus because I suck.
Yeah.
And it's something that you said. It brought light to something that we always talk with Norma. As parents,
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
when our son, because we have a son, or when our you guys at home, if you have children, if you guys are parents,
You can relate.
and if they question you, I came from
Yeah, I see what you're
a
saying.
place where like
You don't question.
you don't question.
Yeah.
Hey,
What I say is
hey,
right.
I'm
Soy
the
tu
dad.
papá.
I'm the father. Hey,
I see
soy
that.
tu madre y me respeta.
Yeah.
You know, I came from that. You know what I mean?
And you know
So-
what's funny
Yeah.
is I've noticed this from being in English speaking churches versus Spanish background churches. The Spanish community, guess what? I don't really care if you don't like this.
Ooh.
They feed off of that authority pride.
Yeah, of
Yeah,
course.
no, because it's
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
embedded into their minds,
Yeah.
bro.
Yep.
That is like, oh, like should I question it? Should I not? And
No,
like,
you don't
and,
question.
And I want to come back to that because that was it was a learning curve for me.
Yeah.
I'm like I don't know. There was a time, and here and there where I still cuss, guys. Yes, I do. I mess up, guys. I do.
You're human.
I know.
my goodness.
Muy mal.
Everybody on the
Steven.
Muy mal.
internet.
Fuera,
Yeah, you know?
fuera.
Muy
Jose
mal.
Luis,
Whoa.
fuera.
But check this out.
Sucio.
Sucio.
That's the only word he knows in Spanish.
Ya tú sabes.
And I still lie.
Most of
He's
the
not really an angel.
he's an avocado.
The fallen angel. The fallen angel.
There. No, so going back to that, it's like I learned so much from my son, and this is the like when he checks me, and I still there's still some pride in me.
Yeah, I
I'm
see that.
driving. I'm driving, right? I'm driving, and then somebody cuts me off. I'm like, mother, and you know the rest,
Yeah.
right? And then all I hear in the back is like, Dad, you said a bad word. I was like, God, I did. I was like, and I can't tell him anything because
Yeah.
I've
Mm-hmm.
taught him. Can't you could use other words in your found language, right? But then like I'm not leading by example there. And it's funny, our son is 9 years old and he's teaching me.
Yeah.
And he's not like questioning me,
Uh-huh.
but he's just letting me know, like, hey, you just did this. Careful with that, And it took me a long time to understand that it's okay for him to do that.
Yeah.
It's healthy for him to do that. And as children of Christ, we can do that to our leadership. Hey, like, "Hey, check this out. Like, can you teach me on this?" You
We're
know,
all children still,
Yeah.
like
especially
They
you.
all ask
we all are.
why.
Yeah, every
They
you know
all
what
want to
people
know.
you know what the funny thing is?
It's just because you're curious, though.
But this is the crazy thing. What
Yeah.
people maybe if you don't know this, if you do,
Now
great.
you know.
If you don't know,
No,
now
now
you
you
know. Now you
know.
know.
Mhm.
If Eder was the top leader here, right?
I'm sorry. Go.
If Eder was the top leader
He's
here,
my leader.
right? But there's
Love you,
someone
baby.
there's somebody leading there's somebody leading Eder.
That's
Yeah.
right.
And who's
That's
ever
Jesus.
but who's ever leading Eder
It's no one else.
is
Right. It ain't
is
everybody else.
also leading that person,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And that
Yeah,
person
yeah.
is a
I get you.
that
Domino
person
effect.
The ripple
Yeah.
yeah,
effect.
but
Yeah.
but that person's also a childlike to that top. Like
Yes.
there's no just because understand this when you're looking at your leadership, just how you may be a child or very childlike or very new or baby like in where the position that you're at, that leader is also that in their position and somebody's mentoring them,
Yeah.
right? And so that's why when I say it comes from the top down, like challenge leadership.
Yeah.
It's because who's ever leading that person, guess what? If they're really genuinely trying to be the best versions of themselves,
They're gonna
that
welcome it.
they may not welcome it because it sometimes is
I mean,
but
if
no,
they're
no,
if
it sometimes hurts, but
yeah,
they'll understand where it's coming from.
yeah,
It may take them time to digest.
okay.
Maybe they need to take a time to breathe. Like, okay, but they understand if I'm trying to be a better version for myself, okay, I'm going to listen to what you say. Now, does this hold weight, right? Just listen. People can say anything about you. You need to have a strong identity within yourself. But if you're hearing it from 3, 4, 5 different people, if if you as a leader,
No, yeah,
no, if
yeah.
you as a leader,
No, yeah, go ahead, go ahead, go ahead.
if you as a leader, if you as a leader have a team of people and more than 3 of them are saying and emulating the same feeling and emotion, you need to look inwardly and like,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
because
I
guess what?
agree
How
with
you
that.
said like, oh, I feel like you're like awesome. That's how you felt. But Angel kind of felt that way, but other
Did you,
people
Angel?
but hold on, but other people may not feel that way, right? So it's like, okay, now I need to see like, is it just the one person's perspective and perception because everyone has their own perspective or is it like do other people feel the same way? And if other people feel the same way, it's like, okay, maybe I need to let me go into prayer and counsel and figure out like what I need to
I
do.
Okay,
think
and
whether or not, if you're a
Yeah.
leader or not, you should do that in general.
yeah,
So
general.
you would not get so offended by things or
Yeah.
take things to the heart
Everything.
because a lot of people say a lot of things.
Yep.
Yeah.
And you really can't control what everybody else
On
says, but you can
Instagram.
control what you say.
And also
And all
with
you know is
that,
your intentions.
and also
Yeah.
with that, with the leaders, we gotta pray for our leaders. We gotta
That's right.
pray for our pastors. You know what?
Mhm.
Because there's a lot of people out there that their demeanor, the way they say things,
Yeah.
the way they're gonna come at them like,
Yeah.
So we gotta pray for them as well. At the end of the day,
Don't go at them. Like that's why like
yeah,
it was
no,
taking time to
it's time
you're
to pray about it. Try to,
but that's why I was trying to make that point. Like
you did.
don't
I think you
go
did.
if you want to really get to the to for you to be self-aware, you don't grill yourself. You take time, you pray,
And
you
you
do
look
self-reflect,
inward.
you look
Yes.
inwardly, and you're gonna be harsh on
Can I
yourself. Yeah,
can
go
I say
ahead.
something
Go
with
ahead.
that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt, man. Um,
You
you
can
have
even
to
do that in your marriage.
No, yeah. You have to like kind of see what's here first in your heart, right?
Yeah.
That I just wanted to say that because like before you question something else, like pray about how you feeling. How come
Yeah.
you're
Yeah.
feeling that way?
Yeah.
How come you're feeling like
Yeah.
Mhm.
Take a look where it comes
why
from.
did that hurt me? Like that preacher said that. How come that hurt me?
Yeah.
Maybe it like
It's
again
your
in
heart. Yeah.
Spanish, in Spanish, si te queda el saco,
Póntelo.
Oh.
you know what I mean? It's for
Yeah.
you. You
And
know, if you put on the jacket
and
and it
before you
fits, must be yours.
and before you say something, also like have some like confidants, people you can talk to about addressing something.
Yeah.
Um, and then the condition of the heart, like when you're in prayer on it, you're praying on it, right? And you're like, hey, let me see what's going on. And you're understanding it because guess what? I may come to Eder with something and he's like, what? And he may flip it back like, oh, try to tries to make me feel guilty or shame for
Yeah.
bringing it up. But if you have a strong foundation and you brought it to other people and you're like, you know what, maybe this does hold some weight. When he says that, I'm like, okay, like, bro, like, that's
Look,
it. It
Yeah.
stops there
Yeah.
it
because
literally
I know that I'm coming in. I've addressed it with other people. I'm not reacting to my emotion.
it's a response.
Yeah.
I'm not like I'm taking time to digest it,
Yeah.
understanding it, boom, letting it pass, analyzing. I'm not being reactive. Now I'm gonna talk to my close people that I know, like, hey, what do you guys think about this? Now when I address Eder, if he's like super offended or whatever the case may be, I'm like, hey, I talked to all these different people and maybe they help me in this situation. But if he's offended, I'm like, oh, this has nothing to do with
And
me.
you know what? That I think is funny is that we talk about leadership and we talk about doing this with leadership, but this takes in toll with any relationship you have.
Yeah.
Whether it be you and a friend, you
Yes.
and a parent, you and a spouse, it's always prayer first.
Yes.
Looking at your heart,
Yes.
looking at where is your intentions, and then
Mhm.
saying, now why am I saying this, and with what
Yeah.
intention do I have?
Yeah.
And it goes back to what I said about Timothy Keller. Timothy Keller said last podcast. It's just that truth with like if you speak truth without love, it's very harsh.
Yeah.
But
Right.
when you speak truth with love, now that transforms people. People feel like, oh dang, you're saying this because you care about me. When I'm telling a kid, hey, you're not paying attention. Or like I'm like, hey girl, why do you keep doing this to yourself? Like I've told you this before. Stop letting that guy speak to you like this. Stop letting him
Mm,
make you feel like this. And I say it with a relationship already, then they
that's good.
already feel like, dude, you love me. So why would you be telling this to me? Because you want better for me. So, and the only reason why I say that is because leadership is supposed to imitate that because that's how God is.
Yeah.
Because God the Father comes to you being
Yeah.
like,
God.
baby girl, I want the best for you. So this is
Yeah.
the only reason why I'm telling you, give up that teddy because I got a bigger one. And the only way you're going to give that up is if you literally have in prayer, you're always with like, God, what are my intentions? What do I want? Why do I want this? Right? But without that, then if you don't have that, then you cannot come up to a leadership and be like, oh, our conversation is going to go good. You're just
Yeah.
this.
You have to pray on it.
Yeah.
Like it's something I learned, and it's something maybe you guys know it. I'm sure a lot of you guys know it. But check this out. I'm looking at all the cameras. All right. Think twice before you speak once.
Yeah.
Speak solely.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And by thinking, you could be thinking, praying, meditating, but do that before you come and challenge it.
Yeah.
You know what I
Well,
mean?
that's also in scripture. I don't know the actual scripture verse and chapter, but in James, it's word for word, I believe, is
Slow to speak.
be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to anger. I remember I read that when I was in jail. And that
Oh,
You were in
stop,
jail?
hold on a
oh.
second. It's gonna take away from the point. Is that helped me out a lot. Like, because I used to have a lot of anger issues, and
I believe it.
it taught me to listen to understand versus to respond.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it's like it
Yes.
teaches me to like
It teaches you so much.
and so people are like, "Oh, you're quiet," like, "Oh, you're reserved." Like, no, I'm just listening.
Mhm.
And
Mm,
but
I don't
mostly
think he's
important
quiet, y'all.
but hold on, but most importantly, like I'm listening to myself and I'm being aware of like, okay,
Yes.
why am I getting upset about this?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm
Yes.
starting to understand myself and
Yes.
to tie it full circle. Once you start doing what we're talking about, praying and and
Yes.
and looking like, why am I feeling this way?
You learn to feel a lot
You're
better.
starting to lead yourself.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And once you start doing that,
You can lead others.
you don't lead others.
That's one of the
People
biggest
just
things.
watch what
Watch
you're
you and you
doing.
So
lead by
You're
That's one of
example.
drinking
the
the water,
biggest
and when the horse comes to the water, they're like, "Oh shoot,
You
this is what I have to
sneaky
do."
son of a
That's one of
so
the biggest things
Christ.
God taught me.
Yeah.
Like to be able to listen.
Yeah.
you
Not
know,
listen to myself, but listen to others.
Yeah.
and it's crazy because what did God do after performing a lot of his miracles? He would go like and step away
And be
and be with God.
yeah.
Mhm.
Jesus did this a lot.
Yeah.
He prayed to
Wilderness.
God. You know what
Mhm.
I mean?
Yep.
He
Well,
would
that
he
By
would seek
himself.
the counsel
He would go
of the
by himself.
Father
Yeah.
by himself
First.
first. You know what I
First.
mean?
w
And I was like,
Yes.
dude, that right there itself is like if
Perfect
we're
example.
if we're meant to be, I mean not meant, I'm sorry. If we are like we have to be like Jesus and we're
Called
God
to
made
be.
us in his image.
Yeah.
like if he did it, come on, we're human. We have to
Yes.
follow him. If we're
Yeah.
trying to follow him and we're walking with him, let's lead by that example. That's the greatest example.
Mhm.
Before again, you said it awesome with that scripture, and let's go with that
And it's
before you
not
think.
easy,
Yeah,
always seeking
No,
him
but this is
and
but
always praying about it. It's not easy, but it is doable.
it's a
Just keep
journey.
on going.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's a learning experience. Is how you said it. Yeah, like I had anger problems, but like I see Nick now, and it's like you don't now. Like
He's
I
calm.
like he like I see him, and he thinks a lot, and it's like maybe he wants to punch me for something I said. I will never know because now he
What?
understands. He's learned how to deal with that.
What it's
He
it
wants to punch everyone
Mhm.
but
that doesn't agree with him.
it's when you were saying about like Christ, like he took time to himself, and I think that if you have this is a green flag with leadership, and you have an understanding when you're coming to your leadership in the church or wherever, or even with friends that are in the church, like how is your prayer life? That is a very good question to ask, because
Definitely.
because it tells
Yeah.
you
Mhm.
it what it so you have an understanding of why that person's asking that.
Yeah.
Is they're essentially asking that to see where you're at
Mhm.
with your walk with Christ.
Yeah.
Because if you have a great prayer life, like you're guess what?
Nothing could
Hey.
stop you.
Well, no, it's not nothing can
It
nothing can stop you, but if you have a great prayer life, the disciples still prayed. They still had Paul still had questions. So
Jesus
Yes.
still
Yes.
prayed.
but what it does is it helps the leadership understand where you're at mentally, right? It helps them to see, like, are you being self-reflective? Are you, and if you are kind of going back to like being very reflective and asking people before you address leadership, it's like, yeah, I've been praying about this. I've talked to so, and now I'm having this conversation with you.
Yeah.
Now, when you ask that and you've done those steps, and that leader's like they come left field or they get offended, then in your mind you're like, hey, okay, I'm gonna pray for you. Like this is, you know what I mean? Like it's almost like they're trying to understand the relationship. But if you're not praying, go pray. Like go do.
Yes.
Listen, how long does it take you to pray? You could say a prayer in 2 seconds. Jesus help me.
Boom.
Wow, that's it. Like it doesn't,
Help me to understand.
right?
That's it.
You do whatever you value most,
Yeah.
right? So if you really
Just talk to him
but
randomly.
if you really value building that relationship, if I if I'm pursuing somebody and I value that pursuit, I'm
Mhm.
gonna put my action, my intention. If I value that, I'm not gonna I'm not gonna hang out with you on my free time. I'm gonna make time with you, right?
Yes.
So if
Same
you
thing with
really
God.
if you value the relationship and you value that connection with him, you're not gonna just do it when you have free time. You're gonna make time. You understand it's gonna take work. It's gonna be bad day. There's gonna be good days. There's gonna
Yes.
be ups and downs.
Yes.
But if you value it, you're gonna do it,
Mhm.
right? So when leadership is asking you that, they're essentially asking like, okay, how much are you valuing, right? So if you're gonna go challenge leadership, understand that they're gonna ask you. No, if
And
a
and
good
hey,
leader,
hey,
they're gonna ask
and
you, how's your
and,
prayer life?
and
Yeah.
don't get offended when they do as
Yeah,
well.
exactly.
You
Yeah,
know what
yeah,
I mean?
yeah.
Like, come on now.
Yeah.
Like,
and you know what I
yeah,
think is funny is that we're talking about leadership within the church, right?
This is
But
leadership all around.
yeah.
all around. Whether
Mhm.
it's in your
And
Mhm.
work
there you go.
area,
And if it is in the work area,
your
and
CEO,
if you're
your
Yeah.
not if you're
VP.
not a believer,
Yeah.
and for some reason you're
Yeah.
listening to our podcast, really in reality, it's not about being in so much prayer, but just understanding your intentions, your heart. You know what I mean? Because when you see that, then you understand where you're coming from and why you're doing it. It's really being self-reflective on who you are as a person so that you can make a bigger and better impact.
But it's
Does that
Yeah.
also
make sense?
understanding why you think the way you think, right?
Yeah.
Because
It's knowing yourself.
if you know why, if I know when I see a gray cup, I get angry. Like if I understand that, then I can grow past that, right? It's there. It's different from the depth, like reading something to read it, and then reading something to understand it, right?
Yeah.
I I I can quote people who said things, but do you really understand it, right? So it's has nothing to do with like the church, like for yourself, understand who you are. Once you start going through that development, like you'll be with people and you'll have conversations with them, and when you look at them in their eyes, they'll like look away
Mm.
because what Yeah, because when you're looking at them,
You
you're
could
almost
sense
looking
them.
you're looking
Yeah.
right through them.
Yeah.
Like you're looking
Can't
through
see
the
me.
facade, right?
Mhm.
You're looking through the facade and you're looking through to their heart because you've looked through yourself
Yeah.
to look at your heart.
Yeah.
And you're trying to, and that's where you hold people accountable,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
People don't like that.
Mhm.
People who don't like that, it's the same thing when Christ was walking. He was what happened with the demons? Like they shuddered, like they knew who he was,
Oh,
Yeah.
they're
right?
scared. They're
He would look
scared.
at
Yeah.
them and they knew
Yeah.
instantly, right?
Yeah.
Dios mío. Like
Mhm.
that, like that,
And
like that.
so it's the same thing. I'm not saying you're gonna walk and do those things, but I'm saying once you start understanding who
Yeah,
you are, like Christ understood who he
Yes.
was.
yeah.
He walked with a position of authority. He didn't need to he didn't need the authority to walk in that. He knew who he was, and because of that,
He walked in
he
authority.
walked in
Yeah.
it. Authority came because he knew who he was. So when he
Yeah.
walked, people tied that to him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when he spoke, people listened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He didn't need to convince people to
Yeah.
listen. He just spoke, and
Yeah.
that was it.
Yeah.
It's going back like with leader, like what you were saying, right?
Once you find your
That's
identity
it.
in Jesus and know that you're a child of God, nothing else can bring you down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You start realizing and catching on to things that much quicker, so you get back up that much faster.
Can I
And
call
it's
that your
and
final thought?
and no,
Well,
yeah,
I want to
definitely.
give something tangible, like because this is another thing I've
All right,
like
final
for
thoughts,
me.
guys.
Well, yeah, like when we think of final thoughts, think of something tangible, like maybe for ourselves that we can take away.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times I see things and people are like, well, this is great, but how do I do that tomorrow? Or how do I
Exactly.
do it when I get in my car and someone
Yeah.
cuts me off? Like
Okay,
that's it.
go for
You
it.
know?
You're the first. Let's see. I want to look at you because I want to learn. Come on, move my mic. Hold on. There we go. I'm learning.
I think for me, the biggest thing, is one, asking yourself, be aware of when, if you have whatever your issue is, whether it's anxiety, anger, depression. I've gone through depression. Although whatever the issue is, figure out the biggest one, right? And then ask yourself, why do I feel this way? Right?
Mm.
And start reverse engineering that back to the core, right? That simple step. If it's anger for me, the biggest thing was it's not happening to me, it's happening at me, right?
Mm.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, you can really only control is your attitude and behavior.
Mhm.
Your attitude is up here, and your behavior is how I respond to that,
Yeah.
right? So for me to have an action, I need to have a thought. Understand you're going to have thoughts, they come and go, right? So you need to start understanding like, okay, how does this serve me in this moment? Me getting upset because someone cut me off in traffic, I'm going to get angry, and then someone's going to call me, and then I'm going to be frustrated in my tone. It's like, oh, blah, blah, blah. And that's just going to be a domino effect. So when someone cuts me off, it's like, oh, I get angry. When I get angry, this has happened. Like, follow that track, right? So it's like, okay, someone cuts me off. I'm angry. Awesome. Let it pass.
Perfect.
Mhm.
Breathe,
Love it.
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
You don't need to react to it, right?
Mhm.
When you react to something, that means it has control over
Oh,
you.
that's
Yes.
good. That's
Yes.
good.
Right?
Yes.
I like
Yes.
that. I like that. I
So
like
for
that.
me, the biggest thing that was helpful was be quick to listen and slow to speak
Mhm.
Mm.
and slow to anger.
Yeah.
And you know where the biggest thing that this comes in is family.
Mhm.
The people closest to you, they
Woo.
know how to get you hard.
Yeah.
Because
Stop
when you
stop
meet,
taking everything, bro. Come on.
but
I
when you,
know.
let
we
let
want,
us say
Final
we
something.
want
thoughts.
little
It was just
pieces.
a final thought. Like, I mean,
Thoughts.
okay,
thought. Final thought. We're gonna leave it to that because you're jacking everything. Bro.
Yeah.
okay, sorry. Just work on one thing first, right? So whatever that is, figure it out. Write
Okay.
it down.
Okay.
Journaling.
Nice. Journal is important.
Yeah.
And if you don't want to journal, just write it down. If you want to put it on your phone, just put it on your phone.
Yep.
Put on the
Mhm.
notes.
Notes, whatever.
Mhm.
Just
Yeah.
start becoming aware
Yeah.
of yourself and how
Yes.
you respond to
And
situations.
tracking it.
Perfect.
And that's it. Start tracking it.
Yeah.
Once you start tracking it and you have data, then you can start figuring out how to
Why?
address it.
Yeah.
What are the-
Of course.
Yeah.
I love
That's
it.
great.
I love it. I love it. Angel, final thoughts.
I mean, Nick said everything, so
yeah,
I
He'd be saying a
he
lot.
did. Let's just finish the
He'd be saying
podcast
a
right here,
lot.
guys. All right. Good night, guys. Thank you very much.
Good
Have a good
night.
night.
peace. So no, I'm kidding. I mean, I wasn't kidding, but you know,
But you were.
but I was.
Were you
No,
not?
but I think one of the things that Nick said earlier on was A lot of it starts within yourself.
Mhm.
So when you can understand how you behave, how you react to situations, then you start understanding other people, instead
Yeah.
of judging them
That's good.
Yes.
and
Yeah.
Yeah.
criticizing them, just
Compassion.
try to
Yeah.
understand them, try to understand why they
Compassion.
do the actions that they do,
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good. That's
and
good. That's
and
good.
and just keep working on people skills, keep working on how to like handle people. I read this book a while back called How to Win Friends and
An
Influence
influence
People by Dale Carnegie.
Carnegie. It's a great book.
And that book is amazing. It really teaches you how to
Oh, cool.
like deal with people.
Yeah.
And so just
Mm.
understand people, understand yourself, understand people, and eventually you'll know how to handle people.
Ooh,
Yes.
that's good, Angel. Thank you, brother. How about you, Norma?
I'm gonna say if sometimes you don't like what the people say, because sometimes they'll say things very uncomfortable. Um, I say pray about it, let it go, and move on.
Mm.
Because you don't want to be stuck with that where like you're hating people and now you don't want to see their face and all that. Like you don't want to deal with none of that. Because at the end of the day, we're all learning and we're all growing as we're going. So yeah.
That's good.
And I mean,
Raquelita,
just to go off of like what,
maestra,
yeah, just to go off what you
teacher,
said.
dale.
Something that I struggle with is, of course, I mean, I don't know if you noticed, but just a lot of pride, right?
You
Um,
suffer with it?
yes.
I'm just
Yeah.
You're so
Oh my
sweet.
gosh.
No, but it
We
comes
love you.
to
We love you. We
like
love
it
you.
literally comes back to somewhat what Nick was saying, just how it you don't want people to have control over you.
Yeah, you
So
don't.
if they get you mad, if they
You
ruin your
don't.
that guy that cut you off, yeah, he ain't thinking
Mm.
about you twice.
He
That
Mm-hmm.
ain't.
guy that guy
He
that
don't even
dumped
know you.
hold up,
He
that
going to
that that
sleep
guy
at
that
night
dumped you
good.
and seriously hurt your feelings
Yeah.
and made you feel like crap, guess what? He ain't thinking about you anymore.
Mm-hmm.
That girl that talks crap about you, she'd be
Mm-hmm.
living a happy life, and guess what? You're bitter, sad,
Mm-hmm.
and angry. So the only way that you can make and live your best life, right,
Yes.
is literally when you come back to yourself and be like, dude, what gives me joy? Literally, what can I do? Because listen, the enemy, and even if you don't believe in an enemy, bad
Yes.
vibes, bad people, negative
Yes.
thoughts will always steal your joy. Now,
Yes.
are you going to give them that control?
No.
And when you don't, then you take the control to, hey, it's who I am, it's my
Yeah.
identity. And that's when you start reflecting, like, hey, why am I sad? Because let me tell you, my first reaction is anger. It
Mm.
is always somebody did me wrong, somebody did this, I just anger.
Get the shank out.
But most of the time it's anger because I don't want to be sad, because I don't want to be vulnerable.
Mm.
So
Is that your
whether
defense mechanism?
yes, and whether you're sad,
Oh, Raquel.
whether you're angry, or whether you're just making a joke at yourself, whether it be like, ha ha ha, I'm fat. Like, what, girl? No, no.
Don't even say those
When
things.
people make
Yeah.
a joke out of something, like
That you
you're
really think it's something that
no,
hurts
you're
you.
taking away from the weight of it. Like, stop making it a joke.
Yeah.
Also,
Yeah.
stop making it less than. If it's something that is making you angry, like we talked about last podcast,
Be
if
honest.
Kanye, like being a Christian, makes you that angry, homie, check yourself. If Kanye has that much power over
Why
you,
is he?
then he already won.
Yeah.
You have no control over yourself.
Yeah.
The best thing that you can do for yourself is always be like, who's stealing my joy and where does my joy come from? If your joy doesn't come from a source that is higher, then literally you're always, always, always gonna be negative and sad, because a person that can never look higher themselves already thinks highly of themselves. That's usually the lowest.
Wow.
Okay?
Yeah.
And I think that
That's good.
what you were saying
You already
about,
say your final
but
thought, bro.
but it's
Joy
it's
is the gift
it's
that
important
God gave you.
because people do this.
Talk louder though.
Is
Bro.
last week, like, you make fun of words, you desensitize the
Oh,
There you
meaning of
go.
them.
oh man. Now
100.
Desensitize.
now I feel like a fool.
But we all do that. Like,
We all do.
people,
I
I'm
make
just
jokes of it.
yeah, like, and
Like
then
gorda, pulguita, like all those
Pulguita.
noise,
Dude, negrito,
Yeah.
fea.
negrita,
and then you
Dude.
say it over time
flaquita,
Yeah.
and over time
negra.
and over time and over time, and
Gotcha.
then you're like, hey, I do feel this way, but it's
Yeah.
you're like, oh, I should, like, you, it's just a joke. Like, no, like, it may
Not.
make,
It's
it's
real.
not, it is real, but
Mhm.
because you desensitize the meaning of it
Yeah.
and the
Mhm.
language behind it,
Mhm.
it no longer holds value.
Yeah.
Like, be mindful with your
Yeah,
words.
yeah,
You
yeah.
have to.
Yes,
You have
yes,
to.
you
You have
have
to.
to.
Final
So,
thought, Eder.
final thought. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Nick. Can I speak?
Yes.
Maestro. Oh, yeah.
No.
He's not maestro.
No?
I'm
Ooh.
maestra.
Ooh. Dios
Ooh.
mío.
There's the pride.
Oh no,
Oh,
that's another.
see, she opened up
That's a
about
topic for another
that.
day. All right.
Muy
So
mal.
final thoughts
That's
for,
what you don't want to do. That's a good example.
for me. For me, it's more
Let's
of
pray for him before I challenge it.
twice. Please think of it twice before you speak once, por favor.
Sin vergüenza.
Yes. Okay. So
Okay.
for me, it's like I want to take it on. Like I'm a dad, so back to that point where I was saying like my son checks me like,
Baby
Mhm.
mama.
hey, that's
Sure does.
that's a baby mama.
Baby mama.
Like, hey, and that was just one quick example of like, hey, dad, you said a bad word. What's up with that?
Yeah.
I'm gonna look at it from that point. When our leadership gets questioned, know that at the end of the day, uh, they are struggling with something as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like treat them with grace.
Amen.
But that doesn't mean you let someone take advantage of you.
No, no,
To
no,
not
no,
cheap
no,
grace
no,
ever.
no, I'm not like if my son like
but clarify it. Yeah.
no.
Yeah.
Like if my son comes at me and he checks me like, Dad, you said a bad when he checks me, bro. I'm gonna be like, hey, bro, you better calm down, and I probably put him in the chokehold because it's
Yeah.
Friday night. I could do that now. Still can't wait. All right, that's a different day. So, but what I'm saying is like, you know what? At the end of the day, it's like they're going through their process as well.
Yes.
You're going through your process as well. Let's have grace for them. Let's have grace for yourself. And you know what? Again, for the leaders, if you have to answer them, if you don't have to answer that there and then, pray about it,
Yeah.
think about
Yeah.
it, meditate about it,
Yeah.
whatever you do, and like tell them, hey, you know what? Like I didn't really think about it.
Yeah.
Like let me get back at you for this. So my final thought is like as a dad is more of a like if you're leading a flock of a 10,
Mhm.
1, 1,000,
A million.
you're not gonna have all the answers.
Nope.
You know what? Invest in your core team, invest on someone that is gonna be able to keep you accountable. And at the end of the day, hey, let's treat everybody with grace because they might really want to come and learn from you.
Yeah,
So
disciples.
at the end of
Making
the
disciples.
that's it right there.
It's not a core. It's
Yeah.
discipleship, and disciples will disciple disciples because
Ooh.
I teach my students so that they can teach others. You never ever want to
Teach
just
people to think right, they'll do right.
no, and also not only that, but
Yeah.
have
Yeah.
people
Yeah.
teach people how to think for themselves,
yeah.
whether it be a hard
Mm.
journey or not. They need to go on their own journey, and it is their own journey with Christ, and no one else can replicate that.
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys. We love you guys. Thank you
Yes.
so much for clicking one more
Have
time.
a great week.
You know what? On the podcast, check this out, guys. By the time this airs, we're gonna have it on iTunes,
Yeah, follow us on-
Spotify, Google Play, all the major podcast
Google comments.
apps, Google
And
comments.
if there's a
Google
topic you
comments.
guys want to talk about,
Dude,
put it
comment it. I'm
put it in the
sorry.
comments.
Yes, I'm so sorry. I got
Google comment.
Yeah,
Google
yeah.
comments.
Let us honestly, that would be an awesome thing to do. Just comment what you guys want to talk about, or
Yes.
what you guys want us to talk
Yes.
about, and hey, we'll do it. Thank you guys one more time. We love you.
Have a
Take
good
care.
night.
Have a good
Hey,
night.
good night.
Good
Jesus loves
morning.
you. Take
Good
care.
afternoon.
Don't do anything I would
Be
do.
bold.
Bye-bye. Take care.
FloVation. Out. Peace.